I was like a lot of kids that grow up. We didn't have money, you know. My grandparents slept in one room and I slept in the other. Got into all kinds of stuff, eventually doing drugs, selling drugs, just really low level stuff. First I was selling candy. Eventually I started smoking weed and I'm like, fuck, I can sell this weed. Like I was selling weed to the manager at Burger King and I go visit my friend. He was like, why don't you just get a job here, work the drive-thru. Customers can come through the drive-thru, put in a special order with the Whopper. Next thing you know, I'm selling weed out of the Burger King drive-thru window.
In millions?
Yeah. My first year I made 1.3 million. From the 14th month to 12 months later, 1.3 million. I lit up. Because it's a simple business. This is not fucking hard. This is why it drives me crazy.
How old were you?
I was like 15.
Okay.
18 to 22, I'm now going to college.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden this guy's turning me on to real estate, creative real estate. And I always thought real estate was for rich people. I've spent the last 2 years unwinding my Airbnb empire. I still have about 6 left. These are all $3 million homes.
You knew you had 2 ears in one mouth when you're around a mentor. Like you and I are very rare because when you get that fucking hungry where you want to make it and you'll do whatever it takes. Hey guys, welcome back to Digital Entrepreneur Podcast with Anthony Powell. I'm real excited, guys. Today I've got someone who I've been watching for a long time. I'm from Scottsdale, Arizona originally, and ironically, this gentleman is from Arizona, Scottsdale, the whole suburbs of Arizona, Phoenix area, and I can't believe it. He's in Miami, and I'm talking to him here instead of our hometowns. And so I'm very honored you're here. I can't even believe it. And I'm humbled because I have been watching your story for a long time and I get to dig into it now because we've been talking, guys, we have similar things that have happened to us. And I think you're really going to enjoy the come up talk, the women talk, the everything. So Cody, thank you for being here and welcome to Sunny Isles, Florida. It's amazing you're here.
I'm telling you right now, this spot that you're staying in is phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah.
This is so inspirational. Like I love Scottsdale. You know, there's been an article that just came out. More millionaires are moving to Scottsdale. It's a hot spot, right? Nothing compares to the energy you feel when you're in the Miami area. Yeah. And then when I walked out on your balcony and I saw the ocean, you're just like, if I wake up to that every day, all I want to do is run through a wall and make $1 bajillion. So it's very inspirational.
It's an amazing, because you and I know how the energy from the desert feels.
Yeah, it's different.
Desert doves.
It's different, yeah.
It's amazing. But I actually love that feeling. The desert doves in the morning, the noise. But there's something about the ocean.
Yeah, it's different.
It takes it to a different level. Well, Cody, we're going to dig right in here. And again, thank you for being here. So is it true you started your career, you were in the Navy?
Yeah, I did 4 years in the Navy. Grateful that I went in, to be honest with you. Yeah, I was, you know, like a lot of kids that grow up with, I don't like it when people over embellish their come up story. Sure. Oh, I was so poor and I had no running water and, you know, I had to shit in a hole. It's like, it's not, not that dramatic, but we didn't have money. You know, I didn't even know we didn't have money. You know, I was just a kid in Mesa, Arizona that my grandparents slept in one room and I slept in the other, and my parents.
You were raised by your grandparents?
No, my parents were there, but we took care of my grandparents because they were really poor. We were doing great compared to them. But anyway, both my parents worked, so I had not a lot of supervision. So I was running all around. A lot of my friends didn't have supervision, and so we were just little knuckleheads. Got into all kinds of stuff. Eventually, you know, when I got a little older, I started doing drugs, selling drugs, just really low level stuff.
How did you go from, did you have a lot of love in your family?
Yeah. It was just, I was just kind of a hustler at heart. You know, I wanted a new bike. I went to my dad. I said, can I get a new bike? He did what everybody who has a broken mindset about money says. Oh, what am I made of money? What does money grow on trees? You know, all that shit. And I was like kind of shut down, and my dad was like, yeah, I'm not getting you a bike. And so I was like, I had to make a choice. Like I either hustle and figure out how to get a bike or no bike. And, you know, at first I was selling candy, and that was great. I did really well slinging candy. And then eventually I started smoking weed, and I'm like, fuck, I can sell this weed. Like, I went to the guy who sold me a couple joints, and his name was Javier or something like that. Yeah. And he said, yeah, I'll give you some, front you some, and go sell it and come back and get more. And so next thing you know, I'm selling drugs.
Where'd the hustle come from?
Just a lack of resources, honestly. Thank God, because I started doing more and more drugs, and before I had a car, I was skateboarding all around with a
Sure.
backpack full of you
Yeah.
know, weed, ecstasy, shrooms, like all this dumb shit. And I was like, this is a lot of work to get around to everybody. And my friend worked at Burger King, and he's like, and I was selling weed to the manager at Burger King, and I go visit my friend. And he was like, why don't you just get a job here and work the drive-thru, and your customers can come through the drive-thru and put in a special order with the Whopper or whatever and some code, you know, and you could slang out the thing. And the manager was like, dude, this is great. My plug is here.
Wow.
You know, so next thing you know, I'm selling weed out of the Burger King drive-thru window. I did that for about 6 months. Thank God I never got caught
Wow.
with any of this stuff.
How old were you?
I was like 15, you know,
wow.
15, 16, you know, right around that age. And then I was finishing up high school, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to college for one day, community college, right after high school. And I made it like an hour and a half before I got back in my car and left and never came back. And my dad was like, you got to make a choice. You start a business, you go get a job, go to college. Something has to happen here, but you're not going to sit around and be a bum.
Sure.
And my dad was in the Navy. And so next thing you know, I'm talking to a recruiter, and I kind of reluctantly signed up, and it was the best move I ever made. It pulled me out of that environment, put me through boot camp. First time, like I being a pothead, I didn't care about health. I was just, you know, eating and smoking and playing video games.
Sure.
Next thing you know, I'm working out, doing push-ups, pull-ups, running, starting to care about, they care about everything in the Navy,
Sure.
all the details. So
Sure.
it just taught me a lot about discipline. It taught me a lot about self-respect. I grew 6.5 inches.
Really?
Yeah, when I was 18, I'm a late bloomer. Next thing you know, all of a sudden I'm getting taller. Girls are starting to pay attention to me. I'm like, oh shit, I want to look better and feel better. And I just turned on, man. The Navy is the greatest experience of my life. I went to like 25 countries.
Wow.
Really learned how grateful I am to be in the United States through that experience, just seeing the world. I highly recommend to any young person, like, travel, man. You've done so much traveling.
Sure.
It's radically shifted your perspective on
There's
everything.
no question about it. I've been in the best of the best and the worst of the worst. I've seen people in ditches dead, and I've been to places that billionaires can't get into.
That's what I'm saying. And so but I knew the Navy wasn't my long-term plan, because I hated my biggest driver being an out-of-control kid that was bullied and picked on a lot and had a very sharp mind and a very sharp tongue. I was always getting myself into trouble. And I couldn't back it up because I was weak, you know? And so coming out of the Navy, I knew I wanted to be in control of my life. I never wanted somebody else to control me. And in the Navy, they control you, you know? So I was like, okay, this isn't for me, but I want to take the best parts of the Navy, systems, self-respect, discipline, work ethic, all that stuff, and translate it into something. I just didn't know what that something was. And at the time, they were really paying heavy for the MGI Bill. There was a lot of government money coming through because of what was going on in Iraq. And so this is in 2003? No, 2. Yeah, 2002. And so, you know, 9/11 happened. There was all this chaos going on, and I'm just getting out. And so I was like, all right, I'll go to school, and I'll have the government pay for school, and I'll just try to figure out what I want to do. And I went back to my dad. My dad's like, you should get a degree in finance. I always wish I did that. And I'm like, I am the worst at math. Like, why would I go do a degree in finance? And he convinced me that it's the language of business. It's the language of money. And so I was like, okay, I'll force myself to do this really hard thing that I probably am going to suck really bad at, because I was a D student my entire life. And something activated in me. I was like, you know what? What's it going to feel like to get a fucking A? Like, I never had an A. Like, I want an A. And I want an A in math. Like, one of the hardest things for me. And I started getting A's. And I was like, this feels fucking great. Like, I want all A's. And so I went my entire college straight A's. Summa cum laude, graduated top of my class. Not because I'm smart. I just worked really fucking hard. I was up until, 1, 2 in the morning, studying, practicing. And I just was able to bulldog my way through it. But wow, I just...
You think the Navy did that to you? Or was there some other spark happening?
I think it was just this desire. I liked the taste of winning.
Okay.
I liked that I was starting to taste a little bit of success, and I liked how other people treated me as I was winning. It was a good feedback loop. It felt good to go from like kind of a little bit of a loser mindset to like now I'm starting to taste winning, and I was like, I want more of that. And nobody in my family had ever become a millionaire. Nobody ever went to college. I was the first Sperber in my lineage to do any of these things. And Ed Milet wrote a great book, The Power of One. And it's all about, what if you get the privilege to be the one in your family? You know, that concept.
I'm that one. Yeah.
You're the one.
I'm the
and
one.
that responsibility is really big for you.
Yeah,
You know, it's like you got to respect that when, especially once you realize like, oh shit, I'm kind of on a rocket ship that can go anywhere. Where do I want to take this and be the one to break through? And so I just started to lean in, and thank God something else happened. And I call them pivotal moments, and everybody has them in their life. Going in the Navy was a major pivotal moment and a recalibration for my lifestyle. When I was in college, my friend Jeremy, who I used to party with, we used to get blacked out drunk, like we were just raging, chasing girls. He called me up one day and he said, dude, I got something I got to share with you. I hadn't seen him in like 8 months. He's like, I got something I want to share with you. I think you're going to like it. And he pulls up to lunch in a brand new Mercedes. And it was a dope ass car, all murdered out. And I was like, whoa, where did you get that? And he's like, I flipped a house and I made $80,000. And I said, where the fuck did you get money to buy a house? And he said, dude, I didn't use money. I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, I flipped the house, but I never touched the house. I never went to the house. I never actually even owned the house. And I went, I don't get it. What are you talking about? And it sounded like a fucking scam or a fairy tale, And he goes, no, give me a napkin. And he literally took a pen from the server and a napkin, and he penciled out wholesaling on a napkin. And I asked him like 1,000 questions, like, do you need a license? Do you need this? And he's like, no, you don't need a license. You don't need credit. You just need like to know the skill on where to find them and how to lock them up and how to flip them and da-da-da. And he explained wholesaling. And I took that napkin with me, and for probably a week, it just rattled around in my brain. This is 2002.
Okay.
There's no social media. There's no YouTube University. There's no awesome podcast like this. So I'm just trying to figure out, where do I go to learn this shit? And so I called back Jeremy. I'm like, where did you learn? And he goes, a mortgage guy named Sabin. Here's his number. And he gave me Sabin's number. So I called up.
Just divulged all the trades.
And so I called up Sabin. I said, let me take you to lunch. And I showed up, and Sabin's just like a normal dude. And he wasn't even a great wholesaler. He just kind of did a little bit on the side, and he explained it in more detail. And I said, where do I learn this? He said, go to a newspaper, like a classified section, maybe on Craigslist newspaper. And a lot of times these gurus will put out little ads that'll say seminar, Reno, Nevada, real estate seminar with a phone number and whatever. And so I started going to these seminars, and I was just like anybody else that goes to any conference or event. I'm scared to death. I look like I'm 12. I don't really have any money. I saved I had like 6 or 7 grand left over, in my, saved from the Navy. I'm living with my parents.
Yeah.
I came back from San Diego. I'm living with my parents. And now I'm like sitting in the back row of this conference, just watching these people get paraded up on stage. Like, I own 13 houses. I just flipped my 5th house. I just this. And they're talking about all this money. And I'm like, I want to do this. I want to be up on this stage.
And how old are you here?
23.
And college is done.
No. I'm just starting college. I'm in college.
You're in college. Okay.
18 to 22. I'm in college. I'm in the Navy. Then I come out, and I am now going to college.
Yeah.
This is like my first year of college, and all of a sudden this guy's turning me on to real estate and creative real estate. And I always thought real estate was for rich people.
Sure.
I had never thought that a guy like me, that with no resources, no connections, that looks like he's 10, can go and do these types of deals. But I'm learning in these seminars that it's possible, and I'm watching all these people do it. So I'm like headstrong. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking do this. Like, this can't be that hard. And back then, there was no data, there was no technology, there was no AI. So it was like, get a list of people going to foreclosure from your local title company, and then go knock on their door.
Wow.
And I'm like, fuck, this scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
This is like literally the worst thing in the world for a kid who's doesn't look his age. And I'm like, my first door. And the lady did exactly what I thought she was gonna do. She opened up the curtain and stared at me like super uncomfortable. And I was so nervous that like you buy this course, right? For $1,000. And it says, step 1, get list of foreclosures. Step 2, knock on the door. Step 3, read this script. If they don't answer, leave behind. Like, it was like,
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm shaking like a leaf, and I see this lady's eyeballs peering at me for uncomfortable like minute. And I'm probably the 500th person to knock on this lady's door. It's like every bill collector is harassing her. These people are at their wits' end. And here's this kid on her doorstep. And finally, she just opens up the door like this much, and she puts her mouth in and she goes, "Hey kid, get the fuck off my property and come back with your daddy when you can actually help me." And slam the door.
Wow.
And I was like, drop the paper, leave, I run to my pickup truck, piece of shit Nissan. And I'm sitting in my car. I couldn't even drive away. I was terrified. It was like all my self-limiting beliefs just ran me over.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the day I quit real estate. I was like, fuck this. This ain't for me. I'm never doing this. I'll never be able to actually pull this off. And like any great, successful person in life, you throw yourself a little pity party for a few days, and then you wake up on the right side of the bed and you kind of bounce back and you're like, fuck this. I'm going to go back in.
Yeah.
And I was just dumb enough to keep trying. And next thing you know, I'm getting an inch closer every day, closer every day,
So you're getting the houses, but where are you finding the people back then to actually flip it to?
That was actually the easy part, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, because if you think about it, you're wealthy. You do well for yourself. What's your most limited resource right now in your life?
Time.
Your time. It's the most valuable, limited thing because you got a billion things going on. But if I show up and I say, "Hey, dude, here's a Ferrari, right? It's worth $400,000, but we can get it for $250,000." Instantly, you're going to see the value.
Sure.
Because it's easy to see. Ferraris are selling for $400,000. I could buy this one, mileage, everything, the comps, the comparables. It's very similar to other Ferraris that are going for $400,000. I'll take it. And you're grateful that I served up this Ferrari on a silver platter to you.
Sure.
So selling a great deal is not hard. Selling a shitty deal, very difficult, right? But if you do your job right and you house hunt and you get it way below market value, it doesn't matter if the market's skyrocketing or going down, we're buying below the median. And when I say buying, that's a very loose term. My job as a real estate wholesaler, for any of you guys that are actually listening to this and never done this before, you're basically a marketer that is putting out marketing to find distressed sellers. Anybody who's looking to sell their house that's very motivated to sell. Now, why would somebody sell their house ever at a discount?
They're losing it.
They're losing their house. They lost their job. They inherited an unwanted property, fire damage, flood damage. The house is old. It doesn't qualify for financing. They're going through a divorce, health issues, legal. I can name 1,000 things.
Yeah.
Because people are people and life is challenging. At any moment, something can happen where they're in a situation where they become more motivated than they've ever been before. Same reason pawn shops even exist.
Sure.
So, and at the same time, Americans are horrible at saving money.
Of course.
So you have like this thing, like people don't save money and all the money that they do own is kind of trapped in their house. And then life hits them and runs them over. And then all of a sudden, all those postcards I've been sending them, or all those times I knocked on the door, or all those social media posts that they've seen, or I cold call them 5,000 times until I just get them right at that moment where they're like, all right, kid, talk. What do you got? Right? And for me, it took me 14 months before I found somebody where everything converged in the perfect thing. And I want people to think about that. You start a new endeavor and you are flying high. You think, I'm gonna get real estate rich. This is gonna be amazing. I'm gonna kill it. 1 month goes to 2, goes to 4. You're going to seminar after seminar. You're putting yourself in credit card debt. You're flying all over. You're learning, but it's like drinking from a fucking fire hose.
Yeah.
It's just overwhelmed. And every time you talk to somebody, they're like, oh, don't do that, do this. Oh, this is the way I do it. In my market, this works, this doesn't. And you just keep changing directions like a crazy person.
I think I have a question that pops up. And this is something that people ask all the time. I'm not a wholesaler. I really think it's a great model. But they're like, okay, I get this house. I can flip it. but I'm calling people that I'm selling a good deal. But what if they don't? What if they don't have the money to fix it up and flip it themselves? Like, what? How do I get in front of the right person?
On the backside.
Yeah, the backside.
Yeah, so...
Because I'm doing two different calls. I'm doing the call to land it, I'm doing the call to sell it.
Yeah.
So I got to be on both sides of the fence.
Yeah, and so this is kind of like what I was saying. Once you find somebody that's really motivated and they're open to negotiation. So there's two things you need to do a wholesale deal. You need motivation and you need that person to have equity. Because if they can't sell it to you at a discount, it's really hard to make a deal. Now, there is creative finance terms where I can take over their mortgage and get creative to make the deal sexy. But for the most part, you want to buy it at a discount, which typically means the house needs work, right? And so once I negotiate with you and I put your house under contract, even though I haven't bought it yet, I now control that real estate. That contract, wholesaling is a game of control. That contract is the value. I might not even have been to your house. I might have done this whole entire thing over the phone. But the fact that I now have your house under contract, legally in the United States, I gain what's called equitable interest, which means I control your house. You can't sell it to someone else. You can't rent it to someone else. I control your real estate now.
And how long does that last?
Whatever the closing period is. So if 30, I tell you,
60.
if I tell you I'll close within 30 days, then I have 30-day window to try to find now a buyer that's a cash buyer that has more money than time, that wants to step into that contract and I step out. And in order for me to allow you to step into that contract and me step out, I'm gonna charge you a wholesale fee or a finder's fee or an assignment fee. They're all the same thing. I bring you a deal. I say, dude, I got this deal. It's a condo right here, right next door to your spot. It's worth 1.5 million. We can get it for $1 million. It needs work. Do you want it? And you're like, yes, I want it. And I want 20 grand for serving you up the deal on a silver platter. To you, you don't give a shit because you're like, yeah, dude, 20 grand, I'd be paying. If I bought it on the market, I'd be paying a real estate agent a commission. So like, to you, you justify it by running your numbers. There's not really a time I have ever seen that I put a good property under contract and then I held up that contract and I posted on social, posted on classified sites, put it out through other wholesaler networks, put it out on my cash buyer database and not sold that deal.
Wow. Okay.
Now let's say randomly, to answer your question, I don't find anybody. I have, because of the way I fill out my contracts, I have escape clauses in that contract that allow me to walk away. So I'm going to go back
to penalties.
No penalties.
Wow, okay.
So I'm going to go back to you, the seller, and I'm going to say, listen, Anthony, I tried my hardest to get my business partner to close on this, but after inspections, after doing a little bit more due diligence and kind of the process slowing down after I originally left you, we're 30 grand too high. I cannot get this deal done unless you're willing to take a little less. That's one option I have. I can. It's called a retrade. I can negotiate you down. Or I could just say, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Here's a real estate agent that's a friend of mine. I want to make a connection. I'm canceling my contract. I'm walking away, but I want to try to help you as much as I can. So, so there are options. Very rarely do I ever have to do either one of those if you do your job right on the front end.
Sure. Do you think today that the chat GTP or AI can help write those boilerplate contracts?
Pieces of it.
Yeah.
So
someone new, but like say someone's tight on cash, they get it, they can do the calls and do all that. They got to get a real estate license. I mean, a
Here's
lawyer, right?
Look, at Clever Investor, we'll get to this part, but I've been selling education since 2009, really gunning since 2010. I sold 150 plus million in online courses just in the real estate space. My courses are like $97 and it comes with every contract form spread. Like, this is not expensive stuff.
Yeah.
You can go to ChatGPT, or you can get my ones that my lawyers created that I've perfected over many, many years using them. I've done 2,000 wholesale transactions, well over 2,000.
Wow.
So it's like my special clauses and little things that over time, like, because I got fucked on deals or people were able to wiggle out of things, and I'm like, that's never happening again. I'm going to put something in there that prevents that. That is only a real operator. If you download something online that doesn't have those little details, you're going to get caught.
So you can get the links to us? We can get
I'll give you anything you want.
So we'll get the links down below. And I'm excited. People are going to love that. Make sure you guys click on it, get it. and you're gonna like it's gonna shorten your learning curve.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same thing that happened to me. It's like, I was in the network marketing industry, and I've had two great mentors. One guy that made 100 mil, and I had Jim Rohn. And it was tough love. But it was the same thing. I went to a meeting just like you did. It was like people walking across the stage, looking like one-eyed pirates, making 100,000 a month. And you're like, this can't be. There's no way. This is a joke. Clapping, screaming, and you're like, this is crazy. And then all of a sudden, fast forward, you're just in the marketplace making it happen. So what were some of the steps that you learned what are some like the biggest things you learned wholesaling that had you known earlier, you would have made it even bigger? Was it the things in the contracts, or what was it?
Well, I mean, I think sharpening your marketing skills.
Okay.
That people see me now, right? Let's fast forward to today, Coby. I run all these businesses. I create all this crazy marketing and stuff. That all came from house hustling.
Yeah.
Because I had to outmaneuver all my little competitors in my market, trying to figure out like take for instance, door knocking foreclosures, like we talked about.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges is I would show up at a house and there was already 50 people there ahead of me. All of their flyers are stuck to this guy's door. And I'm like, how am I going to stand out? I'm just another flyer in the door. So, and by the way, if you leave your flyer in there and then somebody else comes in that's not ethical, they're just going to take your shit, throw it in the dumpster and stick theirs in there. So I would always think like, okay, what's the most creative, clever thing I can possibly do that serves this homeowner, helps me market better, and gets a phone call out of it? So I would print these large oversized signs, and I would take everybody else's shit down and I would tape mine to the door. And on the front of it, it says, please don't disturb, baby's sleeping. I know why you're here and I have it handled. Please do not disturb. Everything's being taken care of. Like it was like this message on the front. On the back, it said, I hope this gives you some peace. My name is Coby. I'm a foreclosure expert. I would love to talk with you. Here's my number. And it cut down the amount of door knocking that happened on these people's homes.
Wow.
So it was a value add to them. They were like, this is the most creative, clever thing I've seen.
Is this where Clever Investor came from, the name?
Just being, yes. I got a reputation around town of
being clever.
Being more creative and clever than anybody else. And it really came, one day a group of us were sitting around talking and my ex-wife was in the group and a bunch of investors, we were at like an investor meetup type thing. And my mentor was there and everybody was talking about how clever I am. And my ex-wife blurted out, you're the clever investor. And it was like, as soon as she said it, I was like, boom, that's it. That's the brand.
Let me recap here. So you went from the Navy. Well, first of all, you're hustling joints out of a Burger King drive-through, and then you went to the Navy, got manned up, came out, you wanted to feel winning. You went to the finance route. You got the A's, and that got you to feel the definition of what winning feels like. And then you got the friend that said, hey, I got the Mercedes, I got the 80,000 on the wholesale. You start doing it, you just went after it. What was the come up like? What ended up happening to you in that? Like, like 3-5 years, what happened?
So to tie a little bow on that story, it took me 14 months. Like you're trying so hard, you're going to these seminars, but eventually you start to lose steam. Yeah. That limiting belief in your brain gets louder and louder and louder. And around the 8th month mark, my parents, my heroes, my dad is my fucking hero. Like I looked up to this man my whole life, and I didn't have successful people around me. Yeah. When you told me the Jim Rohn story, I'm like, man, I'm so envious. That is the once in a lifetime opportunity to be around a legend like that. That's just so dialed in.
And he was the same on stage as he was off stage. Like I've trained with all the big guys, and I don't talk shit about people, but behind stage, they're a train wreck.
Oh yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? You guys are all not who you say you are?
Yep.
Jim Rohn is who he says he is.
I love that.
The only thing he tells everybody, I got a girlfriend in Mexico and I got a girlfriend in Palm Springs. Everyone know about it. He was very forthright about it. I love my vineyard and drink my wine and smoke my cigar. Those are my problems. If you don't like them, I'm not your guy.
Yeah. Good for him. Well, I wish I had more success around me. So I'm looking up at my dad, and my parents are sitting me down. It's now been 8 months. My credit card bill is stacking up. I hadn't done a deal yet. I'm getting close, but I keep getting cut out, and like little things keep falling through. And so my dad's like, you need to stay focused on college. Like, you're getting good grades. You need to throw this real estate dream away. Like, this isn't the thing.
So you're handling both?
I'm doing both at the same time.
Wow.
And I'm like, Dad, you're wrong. Like, I'm defiant. Like, I'm like, you're wrong. Like, I can do this. And he's like, well, you're not doing it. And at the time I was dating my ex-wife. We were just starting to date. And she's putting pressure on me.
Yeah.
And my friends are kind of making fun of me a little bit behind my back. And my voice in my head is getting louder. And I'm like, fuck, I'm running out of steam here.
Mm-hmm.
And on the 9th month, I had a deal, a fucking great deal. And I put the whole thing together, but I was a little naive still. I was still learning things. And I had a deal where there was a real estate agent involved, and he said, I'll take the deal. He was the buyer. I'll take this deal, but I want to be direct with your seller, and I'll just pay you on the side. And long story short, I wasn't making much money. I was going to make like $5 or $7 grand, but that was like $1 bajillion dollars to me.
Sure.
I was like, I'm finally on the finish line. And of course, he cut me out.
Mm-hmm.
And when I called to say, hey, deal closed, I did everything you said, like, how are you going to pay me? And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow.
I'm not paying you. Like, I have a real estate license. I can't pay you under the table. That's illegal. And I was like, you piece of shit. Mm-hmm. I was so mad. And I actually that was probably like my 6th time quitting. I was like, fuck this business. Fuck these people. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm just going to stay focused on school. That lasted like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Before a friend of mine was like, give it one more shot, bro. Just give it one more shot. He was one of my best friends.
Wow.
And he just kept encouraging me. And he was just relentless on me. And I went and got a job as a bookkeeper at this time because I just needed a job.
Sure.
And I was walking around ASU and there was like a bulletin board that said, bookkeeper wanted 34 grand a year. And I was like, fuck, I need 34 grand. I'm in 34 grand of debt. So next thing you know, I'm doing this bookkeeping thing and my friend Zach is like, just fuck this bookkeeping. Just do one, just go back. Took him about 2.5, 3 months before I finally was like, okay. And he was trying to get me to go to another seminar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
what was his incentive for that?
It's just a friend, man.
Just being a good buddy?
Yeah, he just saw my energy was lame. Like I was miserable. I was always complaining about the job. And he's like, look, there's this seminar in San Francisco put on by a guy named Jack Miller. Jack Miller is like a Jim Rohn type character, just an OG, old school guy.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of him at the time. And I was like, I had never been to San Francisco. Like, maybe this is just like a vacation. Like, okay, I'll go to one more. So I go to the seminar. I walked in, every hair on my body stood up. I knew instantly this was different.
Wow.
And at that seminar, which had about 500 people in it, I was looking around the room and I bought courses off of that guy. And I bought courses off of that guy. And I bought courses off of that guy. And they're all taking notes from this guy. Who's this guy? Like, I wanted to know who he was. And at the lunch break, I was like really feeling this energy. I was like, man, this is my tribe. I can stick here. And at the lunch break, I met my first real estate mentor. His name was Lyle Wall. And he was just this old man. He had a Adidas polo wrinkle shirt, a polo shirt, Adidas sweatpants pulled up to his nipples with giant old man Velcro shoes. He looked like Yoda. He was like this little like hunched over wrinkly guy.
And probably loaded.
Unbelievably loaded. And he was just sitting there holding court at the bar. God. You know, he had been part of the Jack Miller crew for like 25 years, one of the insiders. And this guy just told the greatest stories, and I'm sitting there, I'm just hitting him with questions. Everything was spot on. He happened to have a home in Arizona. He lived in Colorado, but his winter home was in Arizona. Yeah. And I convinced him at that lunch to become my first mentor. And within 2 months of meeting Lyle, I got my first deal.
Wow.
Within 2 months, because a couple things. One, he taught me things I couldn't learn in books. It was that true boot on the ground wisdom type stuff. Like, don't do that, do this. Stop fucking around with that, focus over here. When they say that, don't even respond, just do this. And that was part of it. And the other part of it was I could leverage everything of his. I had never done a deal. I had no credibility. I felt like an imposter. I had no money. He had credibility. He had done a ton of deals. He had a ton of money. He had the relationships. And he was like, Cody, real successful people, they master the art of leverage. And that was one of the first things he taught me. And he's like, leverage all of my stuff until you get up off the ground. That's, you know, I'm not going to tell you every single moment, every single thing to do. That's not what I'm doing. He was more of like a Socratic teacher, where I would say, what do I do here? And he goes, well, what do you think you should do here? Right? He would always ask me a million questions. No matter what my question was, he would hit me with 40 more questions.
But you were the kind of guy like me. You knew you had 2 ears and 1 mouth, probably, when you're around a mentor like that. That's where most people don't get it, Cody. Like, you and I are very rare, because when you get that fucking hungry where you want to make it and you'll do whatever it takes, most people have 2 or 3 mouths and 1 ear.
Yeah.
That's a problem. But see, listen to what you're saying. You're just literally got engaged and just embedded with this dude. Well, what was it that you think was the biggest difference that he taught you that you weren't already doing?
He just put blinders on me. He was just like, look, dude, you're trying to control way too much. You're overthinking. You're doing too much. Like, just relax. Remember, real estate has nothing to do with real estate. Real estate has to do with people. It's all psychology. It's just human nature. Like, what makes somebody comfortable around you? How do you build rapport? How do you make them clearly see the offer and the opportunity of why you versus somebody else? Like, don't talk at them, you know. Get yourself over to their side of the equation and really try to get to understand the drivers behind what they're saying. Like, feel the emotion of what they're saying, not listen to what they're saying. And so my first deal was a really tough deal. It was a foreclosure, a bankruptcy, and a divorce all in one deal. So there was multiple sets of lawyers, all this crazy paperwork. I had never dealt with any of it. And he walked me through all of it. And it was a really triumphant moment for me, 14 months into the game.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and I made $40,000 on
wow.
that deal. I made 34 grand as a bookkeeper.
Back up.
It more than caught me up. It was like Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile. I was so fucking jacked out of my mind, because I finally, for the first time in my life, went from hope and watching all those people up on stage to knowing. Like, I knew with certainty, which is a great feeling. Like, when you have certainty and you go up to a girl, you know you're closing. It's over. You walk different. You feel your energy's in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
In real estate, I finally had certainty, and I knew that if I could do this once, I could do this a bajillion times, and I was going to light the world on fire. And I started to collapse time. In 14 months to one deal, 2.5, 3 months to my second, 1 month to my third, 2 weeks to my fourth, and all of a sudden it was like, one day I did 2 deals, and it was like, holy shit, how much money can I make? Because when I started, and I'm telling you, Anthony, when I started, I had a sticky note on by my desk. It said, my dream is to make $4,000 a month consistently wholesaling houses.
Wow.
I wasn't thinking about fucking Lambos and views. I'm thinking, if I can make $4 grand on autopilot wholesaling houses, I could just do this forever.
Yeah.
Like, that was the dream.
Yep.
And then you do it and you're like, can I make 10 grand a month? Can I make 20 grand a month? You said something earlier, like, when I first made 100,000 a month. I think 100 grand a month is the moment where freedom starts.
It is. My first freedom was 10,000, because no one ever made that in my family. And I'm like, when I put that 10,000 in the bank, I couldn't believe it. I thought I robbed a bank. It was a mind-blowing experience. And then the 100,000 a month, you earn it. You feel 100,000 a month.
Oh, but you can, if that comes in every month like clockwork, you can buy almost anything you want.
Oh yeah.
You can fuck off the money. You can make a bunch of mistakes,
it's coming back.
Boop.
Yeah.
You know, this is why when people shit on like network marketing, I'm like, you're a dipshit, because these guys that are really good and skilled with a good company that actually has value.
I did something most people never. I was the pioneer with leverage. What people would do belly-to-belly appointments, I was using videos and leads. So what someone took 20 years to do, I did in 6 months. I was like bringing a cannon to a BB gun fight.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, you couldn't, we would bring in, I could get someone at 20,000 a month that they're willing to do the work in 6 months. It was
which is crazy.
Which is crazy. You can't guarantee that, but I'm just saying, like, I have the duplication, the system, the leads, everything. It was like running an offer, but with a leverage network marketing company. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah, and you hit the right timing too.
Yeah.
Nobody else was really doing that kind of thing.
Everyone. When I did my my time was like 95 till 15. The whole industry piled on top of me, tried to take me out, sued me. My own company sued me, written me up with compliance that I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was not doing what they did.
Yeah,
I was just a complete pioneer, and they tried to take me out. And I was spending $1 million a year to stay in business with my own company, even though I was number one.
Wow.
And one guy one day was leaving, the senior executive vice president, and he handed me an iPad and he said, I want to hand this to you because I was the guy that was writing you up in compliance and I was forced to do it. You weren't out of compliance, and here's all the notes to back it up if you want to sue the company.
No way.
So I have the iPad still.
There you go.
I just, I like to, Jim Rohn always said, focus on what you can control. Focus on moving forward. Who cares? I left when Bill Ackman shorted the company for $1 billion.
Yeah.
And he spent $100 million putting bad press out there and everybody. I remember calling my lawyer. I go, dude, the guy wrote a bad article about it. What should we do? My lawyer goes, make a decision. Just move on. And I said, well, why doesn't he just offer me $10 million and I'll sign an NDA and I'll show him where all the dead bodies are? Because it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It was the corporate officers that were doing it. I knew what they were doing.
Wow.
That's why I left. I left as number one. I was all over Bloomberg. I was like, people were dumpster diving on me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? But it was like what you were saying. Like when I first started, it was the hardest thing in the world to even make $1,000. I was killing myself. Going to school, university, same thing, same exact story as you. Different product, different industry. And you just are like, everyone laughed at me. My parents said, you're fucking crazy. This is the cottage industry. This is bullshit. My friend said it's bullshit. I got married. Our lights got turned off. My wife started crying. We're like 24 years old. I started crying. I knew this wouldn't work. I said, turn on the fucking candles and get on the phone. We're going to get the money. We'll turn the power off at the end of the day. Yep. That's the stuff you got to go through, Yep. It's like, people don't get it. They see all the fun stuff, but when you're broke, and you may have experienced this, I'm sure you did, but when you come from things when you didn't have anything but love growing up, like I didn't get to go on vacations, or kids would say, oh, we went to Hawaii for spring break. We didn't go do that. We went to the park.
I never went on a single vacation.
Yeah.
As a kid, not one.
Not me either.
Yeah, my parents did. They'd go do cruises and shit, and they'd leave me at home with my grandparents.
But when it's like when you don't have it, and you're going, oh man, I want to have the house and the car, and I want to have the chick. And then you get all that, and it's not even what it was. You think it was. I mean, it's fun once in a while, but I don't know how you feel, but the freedom, there's nothing like freedom.
Well, I mean, I think people go through phases.
You do.
You go through phases. When you come from nothing, having nice shit is awesome.
It is.
And so everybody's gonna, go through the collecting of things phase.
Yeah.
And you kind of assign value to the cars and the and the freedom to be able to go on vacations and buy clothes and watches and shit.
Yeah.
That fades very fast. Once you have it, you realize it doesn't really matter anymore. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of go into okay, I'm gonna go experience the world phase. Mm-hmm. And then you start traveling and all that stuff. And like you said, you get to so many places, you're like, how many times can I come to Monaco, and do this? I'm in a phase now, which is probably my favorite phase, which is the collecting of humans. I'm like in this really great place where it's like, it's not what you have, it's not even where you go, it's who you get to experience all of it with. To me, that's like the pinnacle of like joy. Like I get all of my stuff about being able to take my friends and do awesome things together. Mm-hmm. One of the coolest things anybody ever did with me, and it set the tone, my friend Joel Marion. Mm-hmm. He sold his business for $200 million, and one day I get this call, and we were doing some business stuff together, and one day I get this call on a Monday, and he said, what are you doing? And I said, it's fucking Monday, I'm working. What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm not you, dude. I don't have hundreds of millions of dollars to just chill. And he said, well, pack your shit. I'm sending a private jet for you. And I said, what? And he goes, pack your shit, go to the Scottsdale airport, the jet will be on the runway, get the fuck on it, and you're going to Cabo. I'm like, okay. And he goes, I sent out like 12 jets to go pick up my favorite humans. And I rented a big baller house on some cliff in Cabo, and I'm bringing everybody to me. I'm already here. And that made such an impact on me. I'm like, that's the goal. Mm-hmm. I want to be at such a place where I could just send a fucking private jet ride. It was just me on the jet total, like for me, I'm like, why would you waste so much money? I would have got on a normal flight and came if just the offer was cool. But it made such an impact that I was like, that's the goal for me. I want to get to a place where I can send private jets just to pick my friends up so I can hang out.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, take me through. So, man, that is cool. Take me through, like, okay, we talked about the wholesaling. How long did it take you to get to the 100,000 a month? And then did you
Pretty
start
quickly.
accumulating millions?
Yeah. My first year, I made 1.3 million. From the 14th month to 12 months later, 1.3 million. Boom. I lit up like a Christmas tree. I was just, because it's a simple business. This is not fucking hard. This is why it drives me crazy. When people buy a course, let's say you bought a course from me for $97, and if in 3 weeks you weren't rich, you were complaining to me, I'd be like, you fucking pussy. Mm-hmm. It took me 14 months of literally everybody shitting on me, everything going wrong, drinking from a fire hose, never fucking quitting, then unquitting, then quitting, Talk to me a year from now. Mm-hmm. You're going to win if you just don't quit. Mm-hmm. This shit is simple. Do these 25 steps and you're going to get a deal. It's going to happen every time. I've taken the dumbest people that don't speak English as their first language, that just got here to the United States, and I turned them into real estate millionaires because it's 25 steps. That's it. I can't make it up. It doesn't change over time.
Is your course pertaining strictly to wholesale?
In the beginning, let's go back before courses though. I was just dumb and smart enough that once I cracked the code on the thing that worked, one of the best lessons Lyle ever taught me was to starve the ponies, feed the stallions. Mm. In other words, keep the main thing the main thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dude, I'm just gonna be the best in the world at this wholesaling thing. And I became the #1 wholesaler in Arizona. And now, I did see things that other people didn't see. I saw emerging technologies. If I was a kid alive today, 20 years old, mm-hmm. and I had the power of AI and the ability to do real estate, and I was able to merge those two things together, I'd become a millionaire within 12 months for sure. You guys have unfair advantages nowadays. Mm-hmm. So complaining doesn't do shit. Putting in the work is the only thing that matters, and just don't quit. And so once I got really good at wholesaling, I was like, man, I'm selling all of these deals for $5 grand, $7 grand, $10 grand. Sometimes I get a winner for 20 grand or 30 grand, like my first one, 40 grand, but most of them were pretty small paydays. I just was doing a lot of them. Well, what if I took one down and I rehabbed it? Instead of sold it, I just kept my best ones and I rehabbed it and sold it for a bigger payday. Mm-hmm. The guy I sold the last house to made $75,000. I made $8. I'm on the wrong side of the equation here. I need to be over there. But then it's like, start learning how to, juggle a new thing or something. It's like, shit, I got to learn how to rehab. Mm-hmm. And guess what? I had to go backwards before I went forwards, because now I'm trying to rehab and people are stealing my materials and contractors are fucking me and I'm going over budget. People are lying and things take longer and I'm screwing up. I'm over rehabbing. And I went through that learning curve and then I got good at that. And I'm like, you know what? Rehabbing a house is kind of a pain in the ass because you open up a wall and you don't know what you're gonna get. What if I just tore the fucking thing down and I built fresh from the ground up? So I started spec building and I'm like doing one at a time. And by the way, the ability to do this is finding great partners. Mm-hmm. I would find a great person that was already doing it and I would just be like, okay, I'll bring the deal, I'll help raise the money, tear it down, and you do all the building and I'll watch you. And by 5 or 10 deals, I'll eventually get it. Mm-hmm. So in the beginning, I had to give up money to Lyle for leveraging his resources. Mm-hmm. Then when I got into rehabbing, I found a great contractor. I had to give up money to partner with him. Then when I got into building, I found a great developer. And eventually it was like, I'm getting hit with all these huge tax bills because I'm a flipper, right? I'm doing all this transactional shit. And Lyle kept yelling at me like, dude, you're not investing. You call yourself a real estate investor. You're not even an investor, bro. You're a flipper. Mm-hmm. It's a totally different thing. You could sell widgets. Houses, this, that. You're just making a lot of income. Good for you. But you're still an idiot and you're still paying a lot of taxes. And I was getting hit with big tax bills, big tax bills. And I was like, okay, what do I do to do that? He goes, you got to own the real estate because you need to master how to write off using depreciation and all the expenses that they allow you to write off. And I was like, okay. So I started cherry picking out some and keeping them, and I started building a rental portfolio. And in the beginning, it was all single family. And I got up to about 80 houses. And now I'm having cash come in. And it was like mailbox money. And I'm like, this is cool, but it's a business. Tenants, toilets, problems.
You were the
constantly.
management?
At first, when I only had a few, I was managing. And then eventually you get a property manager. But at scale, I didn't really love the single family residential owning business. Yeah. And so at the time, a hedge fund came and bought them all off me. And so I got another big chunk. I lost my tax benefits and all that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go up the food chain. I'm going to start owning multifamily and trying to get into the big leagues.
Yeah.
And so I went and found a multifamily mentor and started down that path. Well, at first it was some local guys in my local market. They don't even you would never even know who they are. They're just a small group of local guys. Now it's a lady named Vina Jetty. I own about 800 doors with her. She's done $1 billion in multifamily, and she's my multifamily mentor now. But now I'm slowly learning how that works and how syndications work and how creating a fund and raising capital works and asset management works and all that stuff. And then maybe like 7 years ago, Airbnb started really popping. So I'm like, you know what? It'd be cool to have like a shit ton of Airbnbs. Sure. So I started buying luxury houses, renovating them, and turning them into luxury Airbnbs. And I got maybe 25 of those going all around the Southwest. And I realized I fucking hate the Airbnb business.
I did the same thing. It's crazy.
There's parts I like about it, but there's parts I just absolutely hate. And so I've spent the last 2 years unwinding my Airbnb empire. Yeah. So I was like, fuck these things. I still have about 6 left. These are all $3 million homes. But
how do you go through the reinventing yourself so fast? Like the going from the wholesale to the single family, the multifamily. A lot of people, they go, gosh, I've read all the real estate books, but I'm just scared to carry. Like, what if I fucking buy the debt and it's shit?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get the formula, the NOI, the cap rate, but it's all, I'm just paper fucking buying it. But when I have to sign the contract, now I'm in, holy shit.
Yeah.
Now, I know the bank's only going to give you the loan if you can prove it's cash flowing. But how do you get past learning the true skill set to where you're ready to pull the trigger and not be scared about it?
How do you eat any elephant?
One bite at a time.
That's it. It's like, I can sit here all day long and do all the what ifs, but it's like, I'm going to jump off this cliff and I'm going to figure it out. And look, I would say 2 things to anybody listening now, because what I did back in the day doesn't fucking matter. It's a different world, a different time. Now, half of my energy would be spent building my personal brand. Yeah. Because that personal brand is going to open up so many fucking doors to get you in proximity to the players. Because when you have the brand and the clout, as silly as it is, so what? You have people following you. But the amount of work and messaging that you got to dial in to really scale and build a personal brand, you got to get good at the conversation. You got to add a lot of value for people to stick and be so consistent for such a long period of time. In business, I'm not talking about like dancing on TikTok or some shit. I'm talking about building a business personal brand. That helps me find the power players that I can get proximity to, so I can say, what is your biggest challenge? Finding the deal. I'm fucking great at that. Can I insert myself in this multifamily deal if I just bring you one? I don't have any money, but I have energy and skill.
Got it.
So whatever that is for that person, in Airbnb, it was, I found some great Airbnb operators to partner up with on my first few. I had to give up a lot of the profit for my first 3 or 4 or 5 until I learned the whole model. And then it was like, okay, I'm ready to do one on my own. With Vina, when I went to Vina, she had a raise she was doing. She was doing like a $50 million raise. And I said, I want to get in on these big institutional grade, massive 300-400 unit deals, the Grant Cardone shit. But that's so scary to me. Even though I'm the king of the houses and the king of wholesaling and I have 1 million followers, that still scares the shit out of me because I've never done it. And I'm like, how do I do it? She goes, well, just raise a few $1 million. I'll teach you how to set up a fund and we'll do a fund to fund. And you could be a co-GP with me, a general partner. and your fund can move all its money into this. So you'll do a raise just for this. So I learned how to set up a fund to fund. I raised a few $1,000,000. We partner up on this deal. Next thing you know, I'm an equity owner in a 380 unit deal in Georgia. And I'm like, sweet, I'm in the game.
Huge.
And here's the optics of it, to be honest. Your first one, I'm standing in front of a deal. I bought an apartment complex. I'm one of, 600 investors.
Still in.
50 out of the 50 million, I'm like 2 of it,
Yeah.
But it doesn't, and I'm not even, it's not even all my money. I'm raising capital.
Sure.
But I can say I am an owner
Yeah.
of these things. And that starts my messaging and my conversations with people to be different. Now my personal brand just goes like this.
Yeah.
Now I added a layer to it. And I'm like, cool. All right, I know how fund to fund works. What if I now take the next step to actually do it? But then I even realized that I don't love multifamily that much. I like it. It's better than single family. And I love to wholesale multifamily because they're much bigger paydays. But where I really was over on the big commercial stuff. And so.
And why commercial?
Well, I own a development company called Green Elephant Development. We were building spec houses for the last 6-7 years. And these are all $3 to $3.5 million, $4 million homes in Arcadia, PV, Scottsdale, Arizona, that thing. And I was doing 20 at a time. And that was cool. I was making between $500,000 to $800,000 per house that I would do. And I would do 20 at a time. So it was a very profitable model until it wasn't. And real estate goes like this, right?
Sure.
And so when the market changes, when the market's going up, developers make millions. When the market flattens or goes down, developers go out of business. And it happens fast.
Yeah.
And I got caught with a bunch of these spec houses going that all of a sudden I was like, okay, my $500,000 to $800,000 profit margin went down to $200,000 to $300,000. I have 2 partners, so we each get $100,000. It takes over a year to do this now. And then all of a sudden I was breaking even on a house. And I'm like, this is scaring the shit out of me. I am not gonna go bankrupt at this stage in my career. So we forced those deals done, got lucky on all but 1 or 2 of them, got out. Every investor made their money, thank God. And even the ones we didn't make money, we didn't lose a ton. And I shifted over to commercial, and I wanted to do a very specific niche because I saw a need. After COVID, companies realized how valuable drive-throughs are.
Sure.
All these quick service restaurants, they, if I have a Chipotle, right, and there's Chipotle on every freaking corner, right? They're massive. If I have a Chipotle with no drive-through, and then directly across the street I have a Chipotle with the drive-through, this one's gonna make 2 to 3 times the amount of this one. And so Chipotle knows that, we know that, and every Chipotle has a commercial rep that reps all of Chipotle in this general region. It could be all of Arizona or all the Southwest. Well, I've known a guy named Christian who has been a commercial real estate agent. He was a McDonald's rep. He was a bunch of rep for gas stations and car washes and all these big chains. And he's like, Sperber, stop fucking around with these little houses. Let's go do these things. I have Chipotle, Farmer Boy, Starbucks, all these big companies that everybody knows. They're never going out of business. They got AAA rated credit. Banks love them. Governments want them in their areas. Let's go master the game of land development and entitlements. And I'm like, what's that? And he goes, it's changing the usage of a parcel of property. And I said, okay, let's go do one. And so we went and we bought a hard street corner for a little over $3 million.
And why do you call it a hard street corner?
Literally, it's like there's 2 main
so it is
things.
the actual
It's literally the street corner.
Okay.
5.5 acres. It was dirt. 5 other developers over a 10-year period tried to turn it into different things. The city kind of poo-pooed on different things. One guy got pretty far and got approval to put 100,000 square feet of retail.
Okay.
The city approved it, but it would never have worked. Actually, it only worked on paper. It didn't actually work in the real world because that street corner would not have supported that much extra retail. So that deal fell through and it went back. The owner just sat on the raw land for another couple of years. So while we showed up, I already knew I want to subdivide that into 5 different parcels. I already had a car wash and a gas station that wanted to go there. I already had a Starbucks that wanted to go there. I already had a daycare that wanted to go there because Christian it's a good old boys network.
Sure.
Christian had all these relationships with all these commercial agents, and they were like, yeah, we'll go there if you can figure out how to get the city to approve to allow us to go there. So while we're working this side of the transaction, having all these conversations, we're working with the city saying, would you allow this? Would you be open to this? And they'll do kind of like a preliminary sniff test,
sure.
you know? And once we kind of realize we have something here, I go under contract for that piece of land, and it takes about 14 to 16 months to work with the city, subdivide it into 5 parcels. And you learn a lot when you're going through your first entitlement, land entitlement process. You learn that every city council man or woman has their own little pet projects, right? It's kind of like pork in a bill, right? It's like, I really need a bus stop right here.
Yeah.
I promised my people that I would get more public transportation. If we approve this, you got to put a bus stop there.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, that's a lot of money I didn't
12
plan on.
months later.
Yeah. And then they're like, we also need a little park. We need you to carve off a little section and turn it into the whatever the name of the councilman park is, with a little statue and you're like, really, motherfucker? Like a park? Like, I'm trying to build and make money here. You want me to put your name on a park?
Put people to work.
But it's always little things like that, and that's being a little dramatic, but that's kind of what happens. You have to just keep going back and forth with the engineers and your attorneys in the city to get it all dialed in. But these people are already going into LOI with us, letter of intents, saying as soon as that's thing, we'll execute a hard contract.
Okay, so you're bringing up something that, let's say someone does have cash. Let's say someone like me, or that's worked their whole life grinding to get the cash. Now they got boats, loads of cash.
Yeah.
But the thought of holding onto some dirt and you have to make payments or taxes and all this shit when you're going through the war with the cities.
Yeah.
That's where everyone gets confused. How do you fucking hold on to the
I wouldn't
dirt?
do any of that. If I had money and I was just kind of like not wanting to be a land developer or wanting to be in this game, I would just find a guy like me who's an operator that has a solid ass team with a great history.
Okay.
And so I have a $50 million equity fund at clevercapitalfund.com. Anybody can go to clevercapitalfund.com and just learn about if I put my money in the fund, what do I get for that? And what do they do with the money? Right? And so there's lots of guys like me that raise capital to be able to do this at scale. The first one we did with private investors or our own money. But once we kind of got the machine down and we got the team assembled and kind of worked through the first one, we went and bought a couple more parcels and kind of worked through that. And then we bought a couple more and worked through those. And then we kind of found a niche. Banks are downsizing right now. And so we started buying old Bank of America buildings, old Wells Fargo buildings that have a bank building in a parking lot, working with the city to tear the bank down, subdivide it into 2 parcels and put a Farmer Boys and a Starbucks or a Chipotle with the drive-through and a Farmer Boy with the drive-through. And so we carved our model. One of our main niches is quick service restaurants that want drive-throughs. So we have all of our reps that tell us exactly where they want to be. We go find that real estate, go through the entitlement, because Starbucks, Farmer Boys, they don't want to deal with the 14 months of going back and forth with the city. They just want that approved, and then they'll execute and buy it from you. So if I buy a bank for 1.8 million, I'll put 200 to 300 grand into the entitlement process with all the plans and engineers and all that stuff, get it approved, and then I'll sell it for 4.5, 4.5.
Sure.
So I'm doubling my money in less than a year and a half, and I've never even built a single thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
It's just a game, and it's the same as wholesaling. It's arbitrage. I found a place that needed something. Guys with more money than time, looking for good deals, sellers that were struggling, I bridged the gap. Same thing over here. So it really isn't like this huge leap in skill or anything. It's just having the heart in.
I think what it is, Cody, is when I run in circles with guys, you're sitting there and, oh yeah, I got 25 mil, I got 100 mil, I got 150. And you hear all the fuckings they've gone through. And you're like, dude, why did you not vet that out better?
Yeah.
Where's your lawyer? It's like, and you know, there's big names that we don't want to discuss who they are because it's not important, but big names have taken advantage of people, the little guys.
All the time.
So I think that's why people get so cautious, and it's like a breath of fresh air when you see someone like yourself come through, but the other people have damaged the marketplace. So I think everyone wants to be like, how do they get past that sniff test? Like, how does someone that goes, hey, I want to put in 10 mil to your fund, I'm just fucking scared. How do they get past that? Do you guys allow the other lawyers to vet, or like, what's the process?
If somebody came with first off, if it's their first time ever investing in a fund, we'll spend whatever time necessary.
Sure.
Bring them out to all our projects. I probably would tell them, don't put in 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do in fact, I would tell them, with that kind of money, let's not even do the fund. Let's go buy a bank building where you put up the 1.8 million.
Mm-hmm. I'll
even put up the 300 for the entitlement stuff. We'll profit share on this thing, and I'll guarantee you 20% on your money or 20% of the profits, whichever is greater. And let's just do a single deal, and let's get to know each other.
That's nice.
And watch me walk through the process. I'll educate you every step of the way.
That is amazing.
And on the other end of that, you're gonna see how cool this concept is, and then let's go do 10 of them.
Sure.
And really scale this bad boy. And I think a guy or girl that has that kind of capital to go, okay, I'm not going to take on a tremendous. First off, I've never lost an investor $1 ever in my entire career, and I die before that ever happened. I will protect that fucking football at all costs. You could talk to any of my private lenders. I've had it to where I've given them every dollar that came in from the deal except for $1. Meaning, like if there was $73,000 in profit, but they thought they were going to make $125,000, I'll give them $72,999, and I'll keep $1 for myself as a fucking reminder that I fucked that deal up somehow, some way, and did not bring in the returns that I promised. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. This is amazing, though. You have pure integrity. I mean, that's incredible.
Well, thank you for saying that, but I mean, more than that, you know what it is I've just watched all these people belay their reputations, and you can never get it back.
Can't.
And I tell my son all the time, like, this is all a man has.
That's it.
His reputation is it.
Yep.
And this game the tide can change so fast. So you better keep your skills sharp. Keep good fucking people around you that don't lead you in the wrong direction or give you shitty advice. And just always do the right thing, even when nobody else is looking. It's a pretty simple formula.
It's very simple, but you know what? People just don't do it. It's like my business. It comes down to merchanting, and then also you got to give refunds. And no one wants to give refunds. Like I have friends right now, they're like, I wouldn't give that money back. Are you fucking crazy? Write the check, give them back. We don't want to have any black eyes. You want, like I went through, when I was getting harassed by the industry, I think I had, what was it? I had 1 million people join my business. Okay, and I had only 52 complaints in the FBBB out of 1 million people signing up. It was probably 100 million leads, right, to get 1 million to sign up. But all 52 were satisfied responses to the BBB. There was no one that was pending. It was because I had every day we would scout the national BBB. We wouldn't even think about a refund. We'd be like, absolutely, here it is. Let's get this solved now. Because that's how you stay in business. You have to take care of people. And
it doesn't take much.
No.
You look at companies like Zurich's and like a lot of these big Utah sales floors that, they were popping, right? They're publishing all the big real estate celebrities.
Yeah, the no money down guy. What's that guy's name in Utah? Forever. You would know him. Well, there's Carlton Sheets.
I don't know.
And then there was another guy.
I mean, there's so many of them. But the point is, they didn't have a lot of complaints, and they got totally taken out of business in a massive way for a very small handful of complaints because they did not refund the people their money. So at Clever, we have 100% refund policy. Like if you complain, it's out the door. Even if I say, hey, there's no refunds on this, you call and you say, this is why, and you start going crazy on me or something, I'm gonna give you a fucking I'm not dealing with that.
Wait, so so I can kind of see now how you went from rocking the real estate to doing the course business, but why did you want to get into that? Didn't that interfere with your day-to-day?
No, because I was scaling the real estate thing, and in 2010, I love real estate, so much. I could not shut up about it.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I'm just like
yeah.
I love
that though.
I love it. And in 2010, so many people were coming up to me like, can I shadow you for a day? How do you do it? I'll give you $10,000. Let me just hang out with you for a day.
Yeah.
And people were paying me 10 G's for a day. And I loved it. I was like, and when I was a little kid, if you would ask me what I want to be, I would have gave you two answers. I would have said a marine biologist or a 9th grade history teacher.
Okay.
That was like my kind of two things that I was like, yeah, I'd love to do that. Well, I went and talked to the history professors when I was getting out of the Navy, they make no money. And I got really violently seasick on a ship. So I'm like, yeah, marine biology probably isn't going to be my calling. And then real estate hit. So Clever Investor was just kind of born as a side hustle. Mm-hmm. And I realized how god awful the other teachers were. The other mentors that were out there, they just did not give a fuck. Just like the courses I bought, dude. I paid $3,000 to buy a course off a guy named Al Lowry from Canada.
Okay.
Great stage speaker. One of the most his energy was just so good from stage, and he was just so dialed in. Every word he said had me cliffhanging. And you could tell now what I know, I'm like, oh, he was just a world-class stage speaker. Mm-hmm. But when I first saw him, I'm thinking he's the real estate god, Mm-hmm. And so I gave him $3,000 for this series of workbooks. And while it was a ton of information, none of it was a system. None of it pulled together. Mm-hmm. It was just like a bunch of shit. And I realized there was an opening. If a guy like me can take all that old school stuff and bring it online, mm-hmm. that there was a space for me. And I just caught social media right when it was being birthed. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, I'm putting out I'm filming myself doing deals and putting out content, and people started to share that content. And next thing you know, I started going viral on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And
how did you get past, like, a lot of people burn out with online marketing with their ads blowing up all the time? How did you get past that?
Well, at first I wasn't doing ads. I was just recording myself and posting.
And just getting organic.
And at first. Mm-hmm. And then a friend of mine named Kent Clothier, we were part of a mastermind together. And he was, I had never even thought about ads, but he was sitting next to me at a mastermind. This is why I love masterminds.
I do too.
If you've never joined a mastermind, I don't care if it's free or it costs $100,000 to join. If it's ran by the right people and it really collects amazing humans in the niche that you want to learn, do whatever it takes to get in there. Because when I'm just doing real estate by myself, Cody in Arizona, I'd have some connections, but they're like my competitors. Mm-hmm. We're not really sharing the goods. Mm-hmm. I go into a mastermind room full of all real estate investors from all over the country. That's all we do is share the goods. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sitting next to a guy named Kent Clothier, and he was the only guy I knew running Facebook ads back when Facebook ads first started. Wow. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm selling this private money course, and I'm spending $50 a day, and look at how much money I'm making. And I'm like, will you show me how to do that? And he goes, sure. And he opens up a screen record and goes into Facebook, his Facebook ad panel,
and just
recorded himself. And I'm sitting next to him, and he goes, then you do this, then you go here, and this is how you place the ad, and this is the graphic. And he goes here, and he gave me the recording. It was like a 35-minute recording. That recording made me $100 million. I couldn't believe it. I said, dude, I owe you everything. That one 30-minute session turned into a $150 million education empire.
Yeah. What was your blend, organic to paid advertising?
Well, once I figured out paid, I was like, fuck organic. I'm going all in on paid. Like, if I could just buy my way to this shit and I could get a good return on ad spend, let's go.
And your course was how much?
Well, I only had one course. It was $97 back then.
And what was your cost per acquisition for a 97?
Dude, I was getting about an 8 to 9 times ROAS.
Okay.
So every dollar I spent, I would make back 8 or 9.
Okay.
So it was that golden era of Facebook ads. I went from spending nothing to spending $4 million a year real fast. Wow. I was gunning, and I was everywhere.
Well, that's a big That's a big upturn. So there's guideline changes.
This was back starting in 2012.
Okay.
2011, 2012 is when I really started gunning on the ads. And, probably my first year, I probably spent 400 grand. My next year, 2 million. The next year, 4 million. Like, it was like boom, boom, boom. And my business was scaling just as fast with that. And that caused a whole new set of challenges for me, because I went from being a real estate guy doing real estate shit to all of a sudden I'm an education person trying to build an online education company with no idea what the fuck I'm doing. But the money's coming in like crazy. And it was pouring in. And so I'm like, well, throw a person at that, throw a person at that, throw a person. So next thing I know, I got 110 team members, this massive 2-story operation. Wow. It's like the fucking Wolf of Wall Street in there. I'm looking around, I'm like, there's midgets, there's llamas, and I'm just like, this is a shit show.
I remember watching it from afar. Oh. You had this big call center.
It was insanity. And I had the slick back Italian call center manager, and I would show up and people are fucking slamming margaritas. They're slamming margaritas at 8 a.m. and it was like a band of wild outlaws, and you're like, what the fuck? And you're looking at the board and it's like, we brought in 380,000 today, and you're like, fuck, I'm gonna go to jail. Like this, I have to get my hands wrapped around this now, because like I can't control this many people, because as you start to scale, it's like I can impart all my culture and my way of doing things with you, but then you go hire somebody and it's like a game of telephone. It kind of translates down. Next thing you know, I have no clue. I'm like, who the fuck is this person again? Why do they have purple hair? And what is happening right now? And
this is amazing.
It was a shit show, but it was a beautiful mess.
And it was Tempe, right?
Well,
I remember that all the Tempe phone rooms back then had the same cookie cutter looking person.
Yep. And what is that guy, Don
Lepre.
Don Lepre. Half of them came out of Don Lepre's phone room, and Don Lepre hung himself in jail.
He was in my office a week before he did that.
I mean, the whole thing was just a circus.
It was such a crazy thing.
But I was thank God I had the 100% refund policy. So, and I quickly got my hands wrapped around. We got every phone call recorded. I brought in attorneys for compliance. Like, I clamped down on that shit so fast.
Yeah, it was a learning experience. You had to clean it up.
And through that process, I'm self-taught marketer. Mm-hmm. I never knew what a funnel was. I didn't know what a VSL was. I didn't know what a webinar was. It was, dude, my first webinars, they weren't even webinars, they were teleconferences. My first ones were me and a buddy sitting there. We would put out through all this emails and social media that was there, all this stuff, and we'd get like 300 to 500 people on a teleconference call where I'm sitting there drinking fucking beer, talking about real estate, getting blasted drunk, talking real estate. And people were like, I'm talking just how I'm talking to you. I'm telling war stories and all this shit. And people are like, how much is the course? $100? Where do I buy it? And next thing you know, the money's pouring in, right? And then I'm like, well, fuck it. Let's do the same thing on an actual webinar. Let's not break character. Let's just party on a webinar and talk real estate. So if you came on my early webinars, so half the time I'm dressed in like a costume. When lives came out, I had never seen a live before. Periscope came out. I became the #1 real estate person on Periscope.
That was huge, Periscope.
I had 60,000 followers the first 3 weeks Periscope opened.
Wow.
And I would go live and there'd be like 12,000 people watching me. And I'm like, okay, guys, I'm going to go do an eviction. I'm posting an eviction notice on one of my tenants' houses. And you might ask why I'm dressed in camouflage, because my tenant's fucking crazy and he's person, and he might shoot at me. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm sneaking through the bushes, putting up fucking, and I just made it like a TV show a little bit, and I started going viral. So as I was buying ads, I started creating more courses. The team started exploding. I always kept it raw and raunchy and real.
That's what converts, though.
It converted like crazy.
It converts right now. When we do the whole, he comes, we make the beautiful set, the suit, blah, 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 blah. And when I go sit by the pool and just cut from the hip, it out converts the one with the suit.
Yep. Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, but I did get pretty good at the marketing stuff.
Yeah,
Over time, I taught myself copywriting. I highly recommend every young person go take courses in copywriting, learn how funnels work. And
did you go away from the beer drinking for webinars? And did you?
I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
No, now I'd probably be drinking smoothies and shit like that.
Yeah, but did you clean it up to where it got more professional? Or did you keep it more raw?
No, my first course was a course called the Fast Track Profit System. My first mega course.
Yeah.
That was like a $500 or $1,000 course. You go into that course, I wrote scripts, I hired actors, I wore outfits. Every training video was a scene in a bigger movie. And I created literally, there was bombs going off. There was murders happening. We were running from code enforcement. It was just a chaos scene of training.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do edutainment. Mm-hmm. Like that was my vision, was like, I'm going to be different than all these other boring ass whiteboard people. And I was really nervous putting that out because I was like, I'm going to get canceled. Like, no, they're going to think I'm a clown. Nobody's going to take me serious. But the tribe loved it.
Yeah, of course.
And I sold, and it was a funny story. I cold called Barbara Corcoran right when Shark Tank came out. I was like, I know that people do these like celebrity endorsements, but who are some real estate celebrities? Like Donald Trump, but I'm never getting Trump.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Robert Kiyosaki, I'm never getting him. And then I watch TV and it's like real estate mogul Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank. And I'm like, holy shit, a female real estate mogul? This is awesome. So I started researching Barbara Corcoran and I'm like, I love this lady.
Yeah.
She's a badass.
Yeah.
So I literally Googled Barbara Corcoran phone number. This is the first year Shark Tank came out. And her phone number came out. And I called it. And her assistant answered. And I did not think anybody was going to answer. So I freaked out and I'm like, shit, what do I say? And she goes, I forget the lady's name. She goes, whatever, Barbara Corcoran, assistant, how can I help you? And it just clicked. And I said, my name is Coby Sperber. I want to pay Barbara Corcoran more money per minute than she's ever earned in her life. And I just stopped talking. And the lady took a minute and she goes, hey, Barbara.
No.
I got this kid on the line, so he's going to pay you more money per minute than you've ever earned in your life. They're from New York, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck, and I hear her start laughing in the background. She's like, hold on a minute. And the next thing you know, Barbara's on the phone with me.
Wow.
And she goes, talk to me, kid. And I pitched her right then and there. Next day, I'm on a plane to New York. I wrote a script. I filmed a whole session of Barbara Corcoran telling her story, then introing me on a web class that eventually sold the Fast Track Profit System that had all the characters in the bond. I sold $20 million worth of that course.
Jeez.
I paid Barbara $8,000. I needed her for 8 minutes. I paid her $1,000 a minute.
That's incredible.
She didn't know what I was saying when I pitched her. I just said, I'll pay more money per minute. And when she said, talk to me, I said, I'll pay $1,000 a minute. She goes, talk in my language. And next thing you know, I paid her 8 G's for a 8-minute introduction. That's all. She didn't endorse the product. She just told her story and said, this is Coby Sperber. He's a great marketer. The kid's got some balls. Here's his, listen to how his strategy for real estate investing.
Sure.
That was it. And then I'm walking out. This is the best part of the story. I'm walking out. Like I had this amazing, we spent the whole day together. And she was such a classy lady and just an amazing human. And I learned a lot in that day. And I'm walking out and I didn't think Barbara understood what was happening. I didn't think she understood just how fucking much money I was about to make with this endorsement. And I'm walking out. She goes, hey kid, come back here. And I turn around. She has her book. It's like Shark Tales, I think is the name of the book. And she wrote something on the cover and she handed it to me and she goes, don't look at that until you get back on the plane. So I get on the plane, I forgot about the book and I'm like halfway back home and I'm like, oh, the book. And I dig it out and I open it up and it says, to Coby, hustler extraordinaire, you have a unique knack of getting millions of dollars worth of marketing for just a few pennies. You're gonna be huge, kid. Keep it up.
Wow.
She fucking knew. She saw it.
Wow.
And she allowed it to happen. That's how cool that lady is.
Wow.
And
did you guys ever talk again?
oh yeah. About 2 years later, now I'm making $20 million a year selling this course.
That's crazy.
2 years later, she calls me, or her assistant calls me, and then she goes, I'm gonna patch Barbara in. And Barbara goes, Cody, I gotta ask you to stop. And I said, what's going on? Talk to me. And she goes, my office is bombarded every fucking day. I get 10 to 30 people calling or showing up at my office, trying to buy your fast track course, thinking that I'm in it with you somehow, some way, because you are running. I was spending at that time $4 million a year on ads, all to the webinar.
Yeah.
And she goes, I know that you don't have to take it down. I know that you can tell me no, but I would really appreciate it if you can shut this fucking noise off and people will stop coming. I said, Barbara, I love you so much. I'll shut it off right now. Cold turkey, I shut the machine off. Because I respected her so much and I was so grateful for what she did, because that taught me the power of celebrity endorsements. And I immediately hung up the phone with her and I went back to Google and I Googled Josh Altman phone number.
I was going to ask you, what was the deal with the
And
Altman?
I called Josh Altman and I said, I want to pay you more money per minute. And he started laughing. And I knew I was speaking his language because he's a shark.
Oh yeah.
And I no, what I really said is I want to hire you to speak at one of my events. And he showed up at my event and I took him to dinner that night and I pitched him. I told him the Barbara story, and next thing you know, I signed a licensing deal with Josh Altman. Mm-hmm. He was on like his 4th season of $1 Million Listing Los Angeles. And next thing you know, we rode for about 5 years together. I blew his brand up. And we made a ton of money together. He was a great sport, played full out with me, and we scaled his brand big time. And I'm telling you right now, celebrity endorsements, they fucking work.
They do.
In a major way. It easily, like I'm pretty good on camera. Just the celebrity factor is probably 2 to 3 times more.
That's what Josh Snow did. Remember in the beginning of the teeth whitening with the Kardashians, Gronk, Mayweather.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So who else?
I did Ken and Anita Corsini from Flipper Flop Atlanta.
Yeah.
Anybody who was having like a reality show would come to me.
Wow.
And you know, and I had other people behind the scenes that I've been mentoring, like Pace Morby. All the big real estate guys came through my programs. Mm-hmm. All the gurus that are out there right now, they all either worked for me or came through my camps, or the people that are running big education brands right now used to be my team members. And good for them, you know. It's like my philosophy is this. I'm a collector of amazing human beings. Mm-hmm. I got this school bus and I'm driving in a direction and I'm trying to put the right people in the right seats of the bus and give them 4 things. What we do here, how we do it, why we do it, and what's in it for you if we do it together. Mm-hmm. And I kind of find these entrepreneurs and I say, there's your seat, there's your seat. Oh, you don't like that? Move over there, you move over there. And I'm just kind of moving and driving, right? But I can't do anything without these humans. Everything I take credit for is because of these amazing humans. And so when they get off the bus, my goal is just to leave them better off than I found them. And if they go start a competing company while it sucks, kind of like what Jim Rohn taught you, is you can focus on all that negative and anger and
just move on.
Or you can use the competition to fuel you to go whip ass.
That's what I do. It's like when I was really young, I used to get really pissed off. Fucking, I mentored you, I brought you up, you cut your teeth with me, and then you fucking compete with me? Like, what the fuck is this?
It's tough.
And you're just like, you get emotionally ready to fight, you know? You're like, fuck, I'm gonna kick his ass. And then you move on and you understand it, and you're like, that's all right. You know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna show you what happens. I'm gonna put the lever down a little bit so you know what happens. Yeah. That's really what it's all about.
Well, my latest venture is my favorite venture.
Yes.
Everything I've done has led me to the big shot, right? Because even with online education, there's a cap to it because not everybody's my customer. And speaking of Josh Snow, I was talking to Josh Snow a couple years ago and I said, why did you get into teeth whitening? What a random ass thing. And he goes, everybody's got teeth. And he just kept moving. I was like, he ain't lying about that, you know? And so when I developed this amazing skill set of marketing and pitching on camera and I'm just so comfortable on stage now. Like, it's funny too, because by the way, you could be a big introvert and be great at all those things.
Absolutely.
Because that's me. You invite me to a party, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't fuck with you. I don't know you. I keep my circle small. Like, I got my little tribe, but I get very high anxiety around groups of strangers and other people. But throw me up on a stage in front of 10,000 people and have me talk about real estate. Let's go. Like, okay. And so I was sitting there thinking, like, what can I use all of my skills for, but actually have a shot at $1 billion company? And I met a lot of people in the home services space. I love when I hear a story about a person who got wealthy in a boring ass industry. I'm like, that just shows you that you don't need to have this high tech, super crazy, overcomplicated business.
True.
And the first guy I met sold fucking metal balls of every size. I used to live in this really private community on this island, private island in Arizona, believe it or not.
Was it in Chandler?
Yeah. There's this little, the developer built an island for himself, and I was on the island. There was only like maybe 30, 40 houses on this thing, and one of them was one of the biggest houses. The guy never showed up, and for 5 years I never saw him. One day I saw him, and I said, dude, finally I get to meet you. And he goes, yeah, I'm from Canada. I got about 50 of these houses. I never come to them. This is my first time. Me and my brother own it. I said, what do you do? And he said, I sell balls. I'm like, what? And he goes, metal balls. They're in everything. Every vacuum, every engine, every surgical precision, perfect round balls. And I'm like, I hate you so much because I'm in this super complicated education business and you sell balls. But anyway, fast forward, I had an opportunity to have a break. I sold Clever Investor for a period of time on terms to a group out of Utah. And I got some couple $1 million in the door, and I had some free time to focus on something new. So I collected a couple of my best friends. And I said, I want to start a business in the home services space, and I want to start with flooring. But I wanted to I'm going to create a brand that's a national brand. And this vision of mine is bigger than flooring. I want to create a lead gen ecosystem and own the home services space. So
And what's that encompass?
So I own Floor Daddy, which is where we're starting with flooring. But I also own Roof Daddy, Solar Daddy, Kitchen and Bath Daddy, Solar Panel Daddy, Side Panel Daddy,
the whole thing.
All the daddies, right? You know, and because I'm starting with flooring because I wanted to start in an industry that private equity loves. That was a boring industry that was full of operators that are old school, like, construction guys that have been installing flooring forever. If you look around, like, name a flooring company.
Well, you and I know from Arizona, there's two companies on the TV 24/7.
Express and Empire.
With the blonde lady?
Yeah. Call 1-800-EXPRESS. Yep.
Yeah, she's been doing it forever.
Yep. And so most people can name like Floor & Decor or Home Depot and maybe one other flooring company, but most flooring companies are like Vision Flooring or Bob's Flooring Company. And so I wanted a brand, and I wanted to make it sexy and do the Coby Sperber marketing to it. So I created Floor Daddy, sexy flooring, quality install, affordable prices, that kind of thing. And I brought my best friends in on it. And I said, I'm going to put up the money. I'm going to put the thing. You go get your flooring contractor license. You are going to be the CTO, and you're going to be the CFO, and I'll be the CMO. And we're going to do this thing.
And why flooring? I understand.
Because it has a high ticket margin. My average ticket is about $9,000. And it's a boring industry. Private equity loves it, and AI is not going to disrupt it anytime soon.
Now, I know the answer to this, but for the viewers, if you already have two people that have these enormous advertising budgets, as the people we just talked about, how do you get in there?
Because there's only two. There's 1,000 flooring companies and two dominate.
But they have volume to compete with prices.
My marketing message is better. I'm a better marketer than them. TV is not that challenging. That's all they're doing, TV and radio. Okay, let me see you compete with me on digital. Let me see you compete with me on content creation. Let me see you compete with me on brand messaging and marketing. I don't care what. And by the way, they already sold to private equity. The same private equity company owns both of those companies.
Really?
Yes. So, and I know the guy who owned Express that sold it to private equity. And so I'm looking at it and I go, private equity fucks everything up.
Sure.
There's a space here for me. And so, dude, I'm 18 months old. I'm already selling well over $1 million a month in flooring. I'm doing like 1.3 million on retail.
That's incredible.
You know, I know every KPI, every metric. I'm spending 30 grand a month right now on TV. I'll be spending 60 grand a month within the next 2 months. I'm spending about 100 grand a month on Google, 30 grand a month on Facebook right now.
Wow.
You know, we're gunning. And already in a short amount of time, every flooring rep for all the manufacturers come into because I have a different business model. Mine is we bring our store to your door, right? And so it's like, we're gonna bring the floors to you, DoorDash style, and make it simple for these customers. And then we're gonna use AI and augmented reality. When I'm in your house, I'm gonna take a picture of your living room and say, what flooring did you want? Okay, on an iPad, here's what it looks like in your home. Hey, let's turn your lights on. Let's turn the lights off. Do you like the way that looks with the different lighting features? Let's move your furniture around. Like, there's so much cool shit you could do nowadays that you couldn't before. And our value adds are better. I looked at those other companies and I said, they suck.
Yeah.
They don't love on their customers. The customer experience bad, and they got a shit ton of bad reviews. I'm gonna build a flooring company with a bajillion 5-star reviews because I'm gonna love on my customers more than anybody else. And so we started scaling, and I have fucked everything up. I've lost so much money to get it going.
Yeah.
People have no idea. You think I've done it in education. I did in real estate. I mean, I probably installed 700 floors.
Wow.
Cannot be that hard to go start a flooring. It is fucking really hard to start a flooring company. My third month, it went like, you know, I made like 60K, then like 140, and then 300, and then I lost 300. It was like, ugh, okay. I realized there's a couple of Achilles heels in this world that I am not aware of yet. And I had to learn some expensive lessons. And even last month, like summer in Arizona is really hard. You know, I was on this trajectory to get to like 1.5 million. And all of a sudden I'm tracking to do like 800 grand. And I'm like, holy shit. Right now, my overhead, my break even is 850 grand a month.
Wow.
I don't make $1 until I make over 850. I'm running at a 17% to 18% profit margin right now. Not huge profit margins because I'm building the brand.
Sure,
I'm doing billboards, I'm trying things, I'm fucking stuff up. I still have cancellations that are too high. I got to get that way down. I still have refunds that are because somebody else comes behind me and undercuts me, and within the refund period, they get I'm filling in all the little pieces that you don't really realize when you're starting a business that are going to be a big deal. People turnover. You realize that if all the information is in a person's head and then they leave and you replace them with someone else, you lose 20 to 40% of the activity that person did. Dude, I just had this happen. This is how dumb people are. This is how dumb I am. I assumed that when this person got fired and this person got promoted into that spot, that the turnover happened and everybody filled in all the gaps. Well, in flooring, when I sell you flooring, 50% of your cost I collect up front. Then it takes, 5 to 10 days to order your flooring and get it in and schedule and all that stuff. And then your flooring comes in. Well, then the day I'm about to install your flooring, I collect the other 50%. Well, one person's job was to collect the 50%, schedule everything, and get the crews out, make sure that it all starts. Well, when that person got fired and the new person stepped in, for an entire month, not $1 got collected for the second 50%. Gosh. One of the most simple, critical, crucial pieces of my business. Nobody noticed for 3.5 weeks. And one day I go, why the fuck is my cash flow so bad? Like, this is brutal. Like, are we sucking that bad right now? And then all of a sudden, I said, when's the last time we collected money? And you should have seen the manager's face. It was like,
oh no.
I gotta go, I'll be right back. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking with me. And then come to find out, we didn't collect any money. So now what happens when you call the flooring person that owes you $4,000 that has had their floors for 3 weeks?
Oh no.
Hey, can I get the money? Nope. I don't like what you did here, here, and here. And now you're like, okay, we're gonna come out, we're gonna fix all that shit, we're gonna make it right, Makes it very difficult, chasing.
Is that person still a manager?
Of course, it was one of those things where it's like,
it's a pretty big learning curve.
I have dozens of these things happen weekly. If real entrepreneurs know.
Yeah.
The real ones in the front line doing real things, building, scaling, selling, whatever your thing is, This is why it always cracks me up when I see these people acting all perfect on social media. And I'm like, motherfucker, you are duct taped together, or you are hiding your biggest shit from the world. You are addicted to porn, addicted to hookers, addicted to blow, addicted to gambling, alcohol.
Your car's 5 days from being towed.
Some shit is behind the scenes is all fucked up, and you're pretending on social like you're just the man or the woman. And I know the truth, because this shit is really hard, and there's a million challenges because people do stupid shit all the time. Even the most talented people fuck stuff up.
That's it. It's called the law of the lid. We talk about this on my podcast, where your capacity can only take you so far. And then you hit this ceiling. And the biggest thing someone could be a CEO of $1 million company, but they're not qualified for a $20 million company. Their ceiling's $1 million a year.
Yep.
So the whole thing you're trying to learn as a CEO or a top level executive is to push through that. And when you push through that, there's all kinds of new levels of skill, delegation, the increase in the top line so you don't run yourself into the mountain. There's all these new things that show up that you've got to learn as an entrepreneur. It's not about just the rosy side of business. The skill set's got to improve.
What I tell people all the time is for every new level, there's a new devil.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're at in your evolution. My philosophy is,
it's always
I want big fuck you problems. Mm-hmm. I don't want the little tiny gnats gnat you or the mosquitoes biting you. It's like, okay, I've graduated. I've done that. I'm cool with the realtor cutting me out of a deal. Like, fuck that. I want the $20 million deal to have a bunch of big ass problems, because at least when I fight through that, one, I grow. I grow and the money grows.
Sure.
So it's like.
Have you had partners that aren't at your level that you've partnered with, and on the surface they look like they're ballers, but then when you get in, the fundamentals are all fucked up and you're like, God damn it.
No, because I'm really slow to partner.
Yeah.
I'm really slow to partner. I go way upstream with you. I hire slow, fire fast.
That's the way
I partner really slow. I don't even.
Where'd you learn that?
My first partnership was a bad partnership. Yeah, it was real simple. Lady cleaned out my bank account. I met her at a networking group. I own foreclosurecounseling.com. This is very early in my real estate door knocking foreclosure days. Sure. I met her at a real estate investor meetup group. She was doing some shit with short sales. Short sales were just kind of starting to become a thing. And I had always been a solopreneur all this time. And then she's like, let's start a company where we do loss mitigation, short sale negotiations. I'm like, yeah, cool. I got a ton of those leads. Let's work them. You be the negotiator. I'll bring the leads. And I didn't realize that she was financially kind of hurting. I didn't realize she was going through a divorce. We weren't friends. It was just meet, partner. Next thing you know, you got a bank account and an LLC together. And within 4 months, we finally started closing our first rounds of deals. We brought in about $80,000. The day we closed it, I was kind of sensing that something was off, because she was getting shorter and shorter with me and a little bit rude and slow to get back to me and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the day that we had 2 deals close on the same day, and 80-something grand came in our account. And she called me up and said, hey, you need to go back to title and sign some more documents. Something happened. We fucked something up. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I was just there. I signed everything. I made sure. And she goes, no, they need you. So I drove all the way back to title, and they're like, we're good. We don't need anything. What are you talking about? I'm like my brain was kind of spinning. I'm like, what the fuck was she talking about? And then and I go straight to the bank, and I look at my account, and it's empty.
Oh shit, the whole thing?
Yep. As soon as the wire hit, she cleaned it out. And then go back to my office. I'm calling her. She's not answering. I go back to my office. I open up. There's an email that says, sorry, I no longer want to be your partner. I'm out. I needed the money. Fuck off, basically.
Any recourse on that?
Well, I went nuclear crazy, because you just feel the injustice is just you're like, I'm going to kill this bitch. That's literally what I thought. I'm burying her in the fucking desert. This is happening. And then my girl was like, you're not doing any of that. You're going to calm the hell down, and you're going to sit in this space. And thank God for a good woman, because, reactive, young, 20-something-year-old kid was just going crazy, like, because I didn't have an outlet, you know, I didn't have maturity, I didn't know what was going on, I just went straight. And I did nothing, and I sat through it. And it was probably the best move I ever made, because while that loss hurt, it forced me to learn a lot of valuable lessons about systems and processes and working with people and partnerships, and how important it is to structure your business documents the right way and document everything and have contracts and all the shit I wasn't doing because I had never done it. And yeah, thank God for lessons like that.
So let's dive into maybe your daily routine. Like, what does that look like?
I rub banana peels on my face and dip my face in ice.
Do you like really like a lot of that? Like, I'm into the whole, I'll tell you my routine. I get up, I say out loud what I'm grateful for. Because Jim Rohn, one time I went to the airport and Jim Rohn's like, what the fuck is wrong? He didn't say what the fuck, he never swore. He goes, what's wrong with you? I go, oh, I'm so tired. He goes, you're not tired, that's a belief. That's not who you are. Change, you're not tired. Start changing the words that come out of your mouth. And then in about 90 days, you won't be tired anymore. I go, what? Doesn't make any sense. He goes, when you wake up, say what you're grateful for out loud. So whoever's next to you, whatever, you're going to change the way you think. So instead of saying I'm tired, say what you love. So that's what I started doing. And then I wasn't tired anymore. And then he goes, go get some caffeine, and then go to the gym, get some exercise, get oxygen to your brain, come back, do personal development for 45 minutes, write down how will this impact your personal life, how will this impact your business life, go do your to-do list. Your to-do should be a 1, 2, 3. 3 needs to be done this week, 2 in the next 48 hours, 1 needs to be done today. Look at the time zones on the ones, so you get the ones in the East Coast done before the West Coast, and repeat and rinse.
Yeah.
And I literally did it I do it right now.
Yeah.
And so,
good structure. I mean, solid structure.
Yeah. And the thing is like the personal development side is really what I see the biggest issue with people, their capacity in business, is they might be motivated, but they don't really have the capacity and the fundamentals to do business. So a lot of that stems from their their daily routines, their belief structure, because your belief becomes your reality. Yeah. And that's the trick of life, right? Because you could be around a whole bunch of idiots and then you're the sixth one, as we've heard that 1,000 times. Or I was the Lone Ranger for a while, and one day I was, my family was laughing at me, and I was like, Jim, my family's laughing. I said, I'm not going to make it here. He goes, move to Houston and jog 3 to 4 miles a day. I was living in Seattle. Jog 3 to 4 miles a day and put me in your ear. I was like, all right, never moved anywhere. So I moved to Houston and didn't know anybody. And my business collapsed because I went through the whole move and everything. And then 10 months later, I was making $150,000 a month. And my entire center of influence earned about $50,000 to $150,000 a month. It was crazy. So there was the power of just reinventing yourself, and you attract. And now I'm not the guy that's like hocus pocus, attract the universe. I like the universe, but you gotta put some action to it. Yeah. Right.
Well, at least you have the balls to move and do it.
I was willing to do.
That's cool.
I was willing to do whatever it took. I love to start something from the bottom and see it go all the way to the top. Yeah. Because I can buy businesses. I'm not really, the money's great, but I'm not really after the money anymore. I like to make something win. Go from zero, go through like you're doing with the flooring company. You get your teeth knocked out. You're like, fuck, that's what makes you go, okay, I'm not doing that again. You fix it, you make it better, and you keep pushing. And then all of a sudden, when you take that victory lap, you've earned it. It's fun. Yeah. And then you do your exit.
When people talk about routines and stuff, I hesitate to share mine because I don't really work until noon. I own my mornings. I have a great lifestyle
what do you do
now.
In the mornings? Like, what do you do?
But I mean, what I do today would not be my advice for anybody.
Because but I'm curious. What's your energy like in the morning?
I'm up early. I'm up super early. If my kids are with me. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you studying things, or like, what do you do?
No. Yes and no. So for me at my stage right now, I have 3 or 4 businesses, 8-figure businesses that I'm juggling between. So, I need to disconnect from business. I need to disconnect from learning. I need my time, And so my mornings from like 4:45 in the morning until about 11 is just whatever the fuck I want to do. Yes, I have an ice bath. Yes, I hit the gym every single day. I own a supplement company called Snap.
Oh wow!
And one of our products is called Surge. It's an energy shot, and it doesn't break your fast. So like, I wake up in the morning. Very first thing I do, I make a tall glass of salt water, like Himalayan sea salt, and I squeeze a whole lemon into that thing to get the lemon juices, because lemon's a natural energy. I slam that, then I take some Surge, and then I go for my run. So like right away, I'm out running and gunning. You know, I get my body moving very similar to you.
Sure.
When I'm running is when I do my grateful moments and all that stuff. I don't really say it out loud and all that shit.
How long have you been running?
I only run because I fucking hate running. I don't run because I love running. I run because I hate running, and I do things that I hate doing because it's hard. You know, it's like a mental challenge for me to break through that barrier. It's like an ice bath. Like that first minute you're sitting in it, you're like, okay, this is really fucking cold.
God.
Can I get through that barrier? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I could do this. And then you get to 3 minutes and you're like, holy shit, it's starting to get cold. Then 4.5 minutes, you're like, okay, fuck this ice bath, right? And it's like, can I get to 5? And I just like those barriers, you know, just for me personally. But I do my little run, and that's when I'm praying. That's when I'm grateful. That's when it's therapy for me to run, because I'll go for 6, 7, 8 miles and just loop in my mind prayers and grateful thoughts and all that stuff. Or I role play scenarios of business things. So, you know, at this stage in my life, I'm playing chess, right, with tens of millions of dollars. I can't even imagine like real players, like, you know, like Elon Musk of the world, like just the power moves.
Well, the Citadel moved in here.
I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, these guys have, we're going to put 660 million on this stock.
That's what I'm saying. It's like what I'm doing is nothing. I feel like when people talk to me and they're like, "Oh, you're killing it here," I'm like, I feel like I haven't done shit with my life compared to some of these people.
You're so far ahead of everybody else.
But it's like if I'm playing real life chess, and so I think about like if I'm having a challenge with a team member, or a partnership, or a contract, or something. I start thinking about the 1,000 different chess moves I can make with that thing. I do this, and then what do they do? Then what do they do? Then what do they do? And through running and thinking like that, all of a sudden, it doesn't happen immediately. All of a sudden, it'll just get crystal clear for me. I'll know my next 6 moves, 7 moves. And it's kind of like that Patrick Bet-David book. You know, it's like, if you really knew your next 7 moves, you'd fucking kill it.
Yeah.
But it takes me a while to get there, because I have to like become present and roll through it all. So that's why I do that stuff. And then normally I come home, reset, and then I go to the fucking gym. So I'm kind of like a savage when it comes to health in the mornings. But that allows me to eat whatever the fuck I want throughout the day. I made a decision when my mom died and I went through a divorce that I wanted to get a 6-pack. And
I remember you came down here and worked with Wes Watson.
Well, I was working with Wes before that. While I was married, I was working with Wes because I wanted him to teach me how to count macros. He wasn't really doing anything else. He taught me how to count macros. Wes, back then, I knew Wes from San Diego when he first got out of prison. Before he went, you know, kind of cray and did everything he's done now. But yeah, he taught me how to count macros, and I kind of carried that forward. I started eating better, losing weight. I was like, what do I got to do to get a 6-pack? And between the running, the eating right, and the consistent working out, I started doing 75 hard. I started doing that consistently, and I'm on my like 8th time doing that. So like I was doing that, and then I got it in my mind. I'm like, I'm gonna start doing pull-ups. Like, how many fucking pull-ups can I got to do?
What was your first time?
Oh, unassisted. 3, 2, you know, I was like, and it hurt my joints, you know, I wasn't good at it.
Quick.
You know, now every time I go to the gym, I'll do minimum 100 pull-ups.
No shit.
Minimum, yeah. Like in one day, the most I've ever did was 250. But I don't do them.
What are
I don't
you,
do them
6'3", 6'4"?
I'm 6'1", 205 pounds.
Wow, because it's like when you're taller, it's like pulling up a refrigerator.
It hurts. But
my short friend's like, oh yeah, look at this. You're like, dude, just relax.
Yeah. Or they don't go down all the way. They're like mini pull-ups. But it's really sad. But not very many Americans, 83% of Americans can't even do one single pull-up. Mm-hmm. And the way I think now is kind of that Wes Watson mentality of like ripped, rich, rare. Mm-hmm. Am I disciplined? Do I have, to me, integrity? We talked about integrity. Mm-hmm. Integrity, it's keeping promises to you, but it's really keeping promises to me, right? Like, do I break my own contracts constantly, or can I depend on myself? Yeah. So if I make a commitment to do 100 pull-ups, I'm fucking doing 100 pull-ups, mm-hmm. or my arms are falling off. Mm-hmm. If I commit to running 5 miles, I'm going to do it. Even if I have to walk 5 miles for a long time to build up to it, I'm getting there.
Sure.
And I think that discipline, that consistency, that kind of work ethic and mindset is what every entrepreneur needs to succeed, because the pressure we take on, especially as men entrepreneurs, we're expected to, as an entrepreneur, you're basically a firefighter. Mm-hmm. You're not really anything else. Nobody comes to you with all the good shit. They come to you with all the bad shit, and they're like, fix this. This is broken. I fucked up. What do I do here? And so you're just putting out fires and mm-hmm. triaging fires. Mm-hmm. You need a lot of personal stamina and strength to be able to do that at a high level. And so my morning's very important, but then after that, I get hyper present on my businesses. Mm-hmm. And it's hard when you work with 3 or 4 companies at once. So my executive assistant really helps me stay clear with my schedule. Time management is mm-hmm. something I struggle with as a person with ADHD. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of team members helping me stay on track. And I'm just triaging. Whatever the most important, most valuable, biggest needle mover in the motherfucking world of Coby Sperber is the only thing I'm fucking with right now. People know that if they come to me and it interrupts my moment where I'm hyper focused on this, even my family, my kids, they know, don't fuck with dad when mm-hmm. he's in that zone, because I need to get to a place where I get momentum on this mm-hmm. thing, or it's not getting done properly. And so I've outsourced, delegated, automated, or partnered up with people for everything else, and I only work on my strengths. Mm-hmm. Everything else I don't fucking touch. I am fully dependent on other people to pull them off. I do a trust but verify model, but I really don't even barely know what the fuck I'm verifying, because it's not my thing. Mm-hmm. I think it's the worst advice in the world when somebody says work on your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that sounds like hell. Mm-hmm. on earth for me. I just want to work on my strengths.
Are you a night owl, or do you go to bed early?
No, I stay out. I mean, not like most people. I probably am out by 11:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you get up at when?
4:45, 5. I don't need a ton of sleep.
You're a warrior.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
When you love what you do, I don't want to, and this is why I said my routine doesn't mean shit. If I was fresh and hungry and broke, I would do exactly what I did. I would get up at 4:45 and I'd sit down on my computer and I'd fucking start working.
That's it.
And I would work an entire workday before you even got up. Mm-hmm. And I'd outperform you just by pure
horsepower.
More hours. Yeah. That was it. And there would be no ice baths. My health would probably be shit. I would probably eat like shit. I'd live off energy drinks and just bulldog my way through this shit. And if I needed hookers, blow, coke, or gambling to get myself through, I'd probably do it. Just to bulldog my way through the damn thing. Because that first period sucks to get it going, I'm joking about that. But.
Oh, it's funny though. It's hilarious. All right, I have used so much of your time here. This has been amazing. But the question I have for you, what would you leave the audience with? You got 2 different types of people here. You got people that are in that early grind, which we talked about in the beginning. And then you got the people that are not really putting the finishing touches, but are going from the mill to the 10 million a year type of deal. What's kind of some ending things for those people you would say, if you were just to sit down with them in that chair and talk to them and look at them?
I would say most entrepreneurs that I've been around have a very strong dark side to them. And it's the thing that makes them great. It's the driver underneath the skin. It's their Dexter in them. It's like they can compartmentalize and bury a lot because they've been through a lot of trauma, a lot of them. Yep. And this is why they're able to take on big projects, big weight, big risk, all that stuff is because they got this kind of dark passenger with them that's pushing whatever them forward. And I would say to them, use that in the most positive way possible by stopping for a moment and going way back upstream and putting some of the personal development work on healing that childhood trauma. Because while it's your biggest asset to get you in the game, it's your biggest crutch to stop you from going to the next level.
Yeah.
This is where I was really joking about the drugs, the hookers, the coke and all that stuff. Because while that is a great Band-Aid, while it's a Band-Aid, it's the number one thing that'll keep you out of the big leagues.
Yeah.
And you'll self-sabotage before you can get there. And I wish
you're so right about that.
It took me getting a divorce, losing my family, losing millions and millions and millions of dollars through the divorce, having to lose my mom in my arms to leukemia. She died in my arms. I gave her the last shot of morphine or lorazepam or whatever it's called. She died in my arms. It was fucking tragic. My dad's crying in the corner. My brother is in a hazmat suit over in the other corner because he had COVID and couldn't come around. And I'm holding my mom reading her Bible verses, and it's the smell of death. It took an entire week for her to die. It's not a fast death. It is very traumatic. And you're sitting there reassessing your life and going, what the fuck just happened? On the surface, I have everything, beautiful family, kids, money, all this stuff, but behind the scenes, I'm miserable. I'm a fucking train wreck, and I'm breaking character, and I'm doing stupid shit more and more because I'm just searching for pleasure somewhere, searching for something that feels good to get me out of this feeling. And that's the worst thing you can do as an entrepreneur and as specifically a man. Go heal yourself. Go get the therapy. Go do the interactive shit. I'm not talking about talk stuff. I'm talking about, go do the what's the name of the therapy with the little yellow light or the light that goes back and forth? They got the buzzers. Oh my God, I keep thinking NLP, but it's it'll come to me.
It's not NLP. But I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. I'll come.
I forget the name of this therapy, but anyway. Talk therapy doesn't work. Go do the somatic release breath work. Go drop your ass in an ice bath, Start working on, I built a trauma, I went to a whole entire therapy center called Psychological Counseling Services in Scottsdale, Arizona. For an entire week, I shut everything off and I went so far upstream. I built trauma eggs. I did intimacy circles. I did, EMDR. I did the EMDR therapy. I went so fucking upstream and I came out of that and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like $1 zillion. I feel 1,000 pounds lighter. I feel like I can fucking dominate for the first time in my life. It's clear who I am, solid as a fucking man. I'm planted. Nobody can move me any longer. I know who I am. I know why I operate the way I operate. I have a certain set of principles and guidelines that's written down, that's clear and clarified for me. I'm not carrying around this dark pain any longer. And that's the beginning of you truly stepping into your full potential and starting to work towards it. And guess what happens when you do the work? The opportunities that you always wish for, they start showing up. God starts opening doors for you at that moment because you're finally ready for those partnerships, for those opportunities. And I wish I would have done it decades earlier because I would have avoided so much self-inflicted bullshit.
I went to Wickenburg to Survivors 1, Survivors 2. I don't know if you've heard of this program. It's a CEO's program. It's the same place that Tiger went to when he got caught cheating. Wickenburg, Arizona.
Yeah.
But it's called the Meadows.
I have heard of the Meadows.
Very powerful. I went to both of them, the Survivors 1 and 2, and it was like opened my eyes. And the other thing, when I went through a divorce. I went through a traumatic in Houston. I took my wife at the time. We were too young to be married, but all I wanted to do was build. We get down there, she started disappearing at night. She was like the girl next door, never even drank. And then I made her do the retail side. I did the recruiting side. And I'd go hang 100 signs or 300 signs a night on telephone poles. And then I go do 2,000 car flyers a day and then do the ads, right? Did that 7 days a week. And so I'd come home at 3 a.m. from hanging signs. She's not there. And I'm like, this is fucking weird. Where's my wife? This is weird. Oh, I'm starting, one of our clients, I'm going out with her. It's weird. So anyways, long story short, she disappeared. And I get a phone call 15 days later. I called the police, her mom. No one knows where she's at, the hospitals. I get a call from a guy, says, hey, Jamie's okay. Hangs up. What the fuck? So I go get my Mercedes washed, this place called Bubbles in Texas. It washes your car. Guy goes, hey, AP, I hate to tell you, but your Mercedes has been parked in my parking lot. How do you know it's my car? Because your license plate is your customer ID in the system. And so I ran it and I'm sorry, is your wife blonde? Yeah. Well, she's been at this place. So I went nuts in my fucking head, right? And I get a 45 and I run down to the apartment and I bust down the guy's door and thank God they weren't there. Right? But then I went to try to save my marriage. Yeah, she lied. It's all the lie.
Yeah.
So I find this marriage counselor. This is one thing that it's changed my life in business and friendships, everything. So I'm trying to fix my marriage. Oh my God, I want my marriage to work. A fucking simp. And the lady goes, listen, here's the bottom line. I'm going to ask her hard questions. She's going to get up and leave. Don't chase her. And I'm going to have a consultation with you and we're going to fix this. It's like, okay. Sure enough, boom, boom, boom. She's out. And she's all right, stop. Let me explain something to you. Why do you think you fell in love with her? I don't know. Pussy, hair.
Yeah, what are you going to say?
What are you going to say?
Yeah.
And she goes, you loved her individuality. You loved who she was, right? She loved who you are. You got to think of relationships like this. You loved this circle of her. This is who she is. This is who you are. And we're forced in society to try to get rid of our individuality, what you fell in love with, and you're trying to become this one circle. And it doesn't work. Now you've lost what you fell in love with. She goes, the other thing is you never learned the definition of boundaries. So let's cut this into two. One, the patterns that you are consistently reoccurring. The same woman, different names, going to show up next year. And the same thing's going to problem because focus is going to happen because you're so busy in your business. You shouldn't even be in a relationship because you're neglecting the attention to this, to that. And then what you do is you find these women that need to be rescued. So you rescue them, you put them up on a tee. Now they got the clothes, the money, the hair, the shoes. Bam, they're out the door. Now here we go again. So let's fix the patterns. So you don't have to have that same person show up every single time. That was one thing. The second thing was, I like people to be happy. So I wouldn't set boundaries in my life. And I would be the person that was the giver, right? I'd give. I was like, I don't care. I'll go make more money. I just want to see everyone happy around me.
Yeah. And
then what happens is people don't respect you and they start taking advantage of you. And so when I learned boundaries and patterns, it changed my life. And then the last thing was I was raised by, my dad was a loser. My mom was amazing. She had no money. She had to get remarried. So she went off and created her own new life, right? I would too, I understand. So I went to live with my grandparents. So I had no idea I had abandonment issues. I didn't know what that was. I was on the street surviving, selling car audio and papers and, I was just hustling. So when you really dig into, you were kind of talking about, you dig into the little things in your mental capacities that you need to let go of. That's when you have
changes everything.
It changes everything. And it's the last thing is, I guess I could share, you've said, I'm going to summarize a little bit what you said. And I said this to you when we were first starting to talk. You spend your whole life trying to get approved from somebody. So that's why, at the end of the day, I don't think we would really buy cars. I like the way cars sound. I love Lambos and stuff. But you get tired of up and down. You're like, fuck this car. But you do it for approval. You buy stupid things for approval. You want people to say, oh man, he or she is amazing. And you don't even know them. So when you get to the point where you can look in the mirror and you can be still and by yourself and you are happy and content, that's when you become deadly. And that's when my business has always went to the next level. When I was able to be by myself, I didn't need anybody else to tell me I'm good. And then I attracted the most incredible people around me, right?
Yeah.
And that's really, I think, when in business, that I don't know if you felt the same way, but when you have that freedom, that's when you really start to go through.
I just think when a man is truly knows himself. And
Yeah.
he's real solid like
Yep.
that. Like
Yeah.
when you walk into a room, you change the weather in that room.
Yeah.
And it's a different energy that's leading in front of you.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that, you got to kind of do the peacocking and the, you know, the over the top loud, look at me.
Well,
Look
you
at
and I have always
da-da-da-da.
been tall, so we don't really have to do much.
Well, yeah, you're much taller than me, but you know, it's just seeing you in a Lambo would be kind of funny. You're like one arm, one leg hanging out the
I tried
side.
once.
Yeah.
I had a Mercy back when Mercies were new, and I sold it to Nicolas Cage. But I wish I sold it for $380. It's worth $1 million now.
That's still a cool story. To be able to say you sold a car to Nicolas Cage is pretty dope. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, I love Nicolas
Well,
Cage.
look, dude.
Unbelievable.
We got a lot in common, man. Thanks for sharing
do.
some of that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Guys, we're going to get all of Cody's links and things like that down below in the description. Make sure you guys stay tuned. And you know, you are amazing. I'm so glad we finally got to meet each other. And, you know, I'd like you to run my ass down the street because I've been doing 3 miles, but it's time to go to 5 to 7.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm excited. So thank you, my friend.
Yes,
I'm
thank
so
you for
happy
having me
that
on.
we finally
Appreciate
got
it.
to be here. Guys, we'll be here next week. Make sure you do comment, like the show. We'll be back next week and we'll see what's up. You guys know what to do. Make that little bit of a step forward. Because a lot of you guys are always talking about, what do I need to do about this? And you guys are DMing me, you guys are asking questions. You already know what to do. Take the first step forward. We can sit here and tell you our journeys and our stories, which we will, and we'll have a lot of other people tell the same thing. But we all have battle wounds. There is no such thing as a shiny lure. You're not going to click a button and the money's going to fall out on the sky, right? So you got to do the work. We're just going to help you shorten your learning curve so you don't have to make as many mistakes, but you still are going to make mistakes. We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.